Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks, grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world. CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Well, I'm almost done right now, too.
Yeah, she is, and I'm really just waiting on the phone call to go pick her up and take her home, which could come at any second.
They're saying they can't hear you, Sloopy.
That's an improvement, then. Unfortunately, I can still hear you.
Yep, it's the same old thing. For some reason, microphone doesn't get attached to my microphone. All right, should I do all that again?
Why not?
Okay. Welcome to CoCoTALK episode 292, where we've got all our usual cast of...
Idiots. Oh, wait, that's Mad Magazine.
No, it's a usual gang of idiots. I was actually about to say that, but some people get offended by that, not realizing where the reference comes from.
We used to read Mad Magazine.
Yeah, we used to read.
Yeah.
I used to fold the back page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yes, they put me in charge again, and hopefully they'll smarten up and not do it again. But you know how the usual gang of idiots are. So let's get this rolling and go on to our panel introductions. Starting in the top left, we have the hardware guru himself, Rick Euland. Hey, Rick.
Oh, howdy, folks.
And then we go to the next line, and that's no one important. I mean, next box is no one important. Then we've got the man behind the scenes that takes care of everything, Terry Steggy. Hey, Terry.
Oh, we're in big trouble if that's the case. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Then we have the original news hound himself. Let's see if anyone gets that reference. L. Curtis Boyle. Hey, Curtis.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
All right. Carriage return, line feed. We have the Apple guy himself, Marco. Hey, Mark.
Hey, glad to be here. Also, Jason, unfortunately, Kevin Holloway said he can hear you. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about your luck.
yeah. Anyway, glad to be here, as usual.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't like it, they're more than welcome to come here and do the hosting themselves. All right, next up is the garage man himself, Ron Delvaux.
Hey. How you doing?
Hey, Ron.
Glad you're here.
Yeah. All right, and then next we have the man whose shoes that I'm trying to fill, but I'm not quite making it. Mark B. Hey, Mark B.
Hello. I finally got the Christmas tree lit.
Woohoo! Then,
And you may have to disappear shortly too, so if
Yeah.
nobody be panicked if that happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting on a phone call.
Yes. Phone call to bring his mother home. Yes. Make sure you get that right because we don't want people thinking the worst.
I think it's from the governor. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then next we have, Ken, that Game On guy that likes to torture us with these games. Hi, Ken.
Hey, remember, I did not write this game this week. It was not my fault.
Yeah, well, this
When
week
we
was.
find that guy, we'll get him.
Yeah, well,
It's that every week.
at least this week was better than some weeks. So, all right, then we do a carriage return, but without line feed this time. And the man who does all the behind the scenes stuff, Exile in Paradise himself, Alan. Hey, Alan.
Howdy, howdy, Earth.
All right, and then we'd hit the carriage return. Or no, we hit the carriage return without a line feed all the way back over the other side. And we have Jason Reigert, the Coco Man himself. Hey, Jason.
Howdy, howdy, and I've got my CoCoTALK t-shirt ready to go.
Okay, and when are you going to start hosting?
Well, I think there's a certain area that needs to freeze over first.
We're way ahead of you there, Chase.
It's already has. I've got pictures.
Arizona?
Yeah.
It's definitely not anywhere in Canada, I know that much.
It's a bit south of there. So.
Quite possibly.
When Houston freezes over, that'll be next week.
It was 39 here this morning.
Oof.
That's still above freezing.
Yeah.
All right.
Almost.
Now let's go down under to the bottom of the pile, and we see the man, the myth, the legend, the owner of more Ferraris than any other Coco user in the world, Nick Marentes. Hey, Nick.
Hey, world, how are you? Now we can, now that we've done the opening credits, we can switch straight to the closing now.
Absolutely. Goodbye,
That joke never
everybody.
gets
Heavy
old.
efficiency.
That's it. That's the show.
So let's say a quick shout out to some of our.
You missed
people in
one.
the- Yes, we're going to get back to him.
Oh, okay.
He's last for a reason. And we're going to say hello to some of our people in our studio audience. Hi, Brian Walsh, Frank of Retro Rewind, a great person to satisfy all your Coco needs. Can Make It, that's a tongue twister, who is given us great games like Robot Nightmare, Nightmare Highway, and other ones I can't remember. Fandom 8-Bit, Mr. Dave 6309.
You saw Brian Walsh's comment? He said, "Good morning, all echoes except for Sloopy."
No, I didn't see
Batting
that.
third.
And who else do we have here in our studio audience? Tom Eric Gunderson and Jim Rye. And okay, I can't scroll any further because that's too much like work. Oh, and Mikey. Hey, Mikey, the man of Pi Drive Wire fame.
He likes it. Mikey.
Yes. And now back to our panels. And that one man that I forgot, or didn't forget, it's Brian Weisler, the man that has all the wonderful updates and acquisitions that we all wish we had. Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
Good. Welcome to the show, everybody.
And what do you have for us?
Oh, we're going to jump right into me first?
Yep,
Oh,
we're
okay.
going to do as we mentioned, we're going to do we actually do some planning before the show. Not much, but we do a little bit.
Usually under 5 minutes before the show starts.
Yes, I
We
apologize
plan
for my
the
lack
crashes.
of professionalism here for you guys. So, let's see here. I was just looking up one thing here because I wanted to have one little fact here ready, but I will just wing with it. Okay. So the first thing I'd like to share is something that was kind of somebody I was talking to, and he led me to this. Erico with the CP400, and they recently had their version of CoCo Fest, and him and I were chatting, and I asked him to put his ears out to see if he would find something for me, and nothing appeared at the show. But then a few weeks later, they had a listing on their Facebook page, and I'd like to go ahead and share that with you guys here. I haven't seen them myself yet either, so let me do this, and we'll take a look at it together. So I got this box here from the Brazilian Post. So we'll get Mr. Knife out here. His name is not Stanley, no.
Oh, Stanley the Knife?
Oh, Stanley. No, I guess I'm sorry. I have not named my tools. I guess maybe I have to start doing that. I forget what it is. He's over in the UK over there. He has
the professor.
Yeah, the professor guy. I forget his name
that's
there. But...
exactly who I was thinking.
Ooh.
Two boxes in here. Let me get rid of this here, and we'll take a look here. I was very excited about this. So let's see what's inside.
Bubble wrap.
More packing.
More
foam. Oh.
Ah, CP40 joysticks.
Yes. Note the color.
Red?
Red. And the green one. That's what made it so excited about getting one of these things, because they come as they have a red and a green there, kind of your left and right. And so he packed them very well. We even got some more wrapping. This is an original. So let's get a little bit of saran wrap here to protect them. He did do a great job. Wish I could remember the guy's name. I was going to look it up, but Erico pointed out he had a Facebook listing there. And I reached out to him, and we made arrangements. This would be nice because I recently got a CP400, and it had one joystick, but I've been wanting to get a pair.
Hey, with the dollar going down, were these things under 700?
Yeah, they were. So yeah, got the joystick and the manual in there and everything.
Wow,
nice.
And here's our red one.
This isn't you.
I like the coily
unpackaging
cords.
I'm sorry?
This isn't you unpackaging them? Or is this you unpackaging them?
No, it's live.
Yep. This is me unpackaging them. So,
okay.
Yep. So yeah. So I would say these are kind of neat. These.
Well, which one do you relate to, the left or the right?
I guess it really doesn't matter. Whichever one you put in there, I guess. But I don't. And I really don't know. That would be kind of a good question, though. Ron,
red is right.
Red is right there. So versus left or right, why they did the red and green. I guess if you have them plugged in and you just know that I want to be the red joystick, I guess then there you go. So yeah.
One nice thing is it's got two fire buttons too. So if you're left or right-handed, it's good for both.
Yeah, because I believe it because it is just your. It's
yeah,
just five pins.
The CP400, which is a clone of the CoCo 1 and 2, as far as the hardware goes, doesn't support two-button joysticks. So.
Correct. Yep. So yeah, so they should both. There you go. So yeah. Wanted to share that with you. I was very excited to get the pair for my CP400.
They don't have a nickname, do they, for theirs? I mean, we have the Black Beauty. What do they call these?
Silver Beauties.
Silver Beauties. There you go.
I was going to ask: is that silver? Is that actually a plastic, or is that like aluminum, or what is that made of?
Yeah, it is plastic, and it looks like it's probably a painted plastic. You probably can't see it on the camera, but there's kind of a cream color, so it is a painted plastic case. They are serial number 2. So we got serial number 281, and this one here is serial number. Unless it's a part number, this has 26100.
I do like the shaping of them.
Oh, this here they both said 26. Okay, so this was 28281, and this one is 26100. I'm guessing here. So, yeah, interesting. They look like they were serial numbered, not printed, but with one of those. What am I looking for? The thing that
Imprints?
vibrates there. That you can write in an engraver. It looks like they're written with an engraver. Yes.
You know, something that they have that we don't have on our Black Beauties is those rubber feet.
Yep.
Look at that. They took extra time.
Aren't they fancy?
And expense.
And expense. Yep. Well, they didn't have to worry about development costs, did they? Because everything was cloned. So, okay. Well, I'll set those aside. Let's see here. I do have another unboxing, and then something else I'd like to show you guys. A much bigger box.
Wow, it's so big it won't fit on the camera.
It's the size of Alaska.
More packing and a little thank you for my purchase.
Nice.
This might give some idea what it is.
Pro hoarder.
What's that?
Did that say pro hoarder?
Yes.
Yes, it did. So, yes, a
I
professional.
thought Brian was the pro hoarder around here.
Professional hoarder. There you go.
It looks like you've opened the box to
Embrace your proclivity.
Yeah, upside down. I did open upside down. I didn't want to show the shipping address of the person there. So, okay. So yes, it's the bottom of a box. Let me turn it over. And it is a CoCo 3 in box.
Korean CoCo 3.
And let's take a look at this guy and see what kind of condition it is. I haven't opened up this one yet, so.
Ooh, that looks beautiful.
No manuals with this one though.
Can't all be that lucky.
No. But it
doesn't look like an
missing-
RF can or anything else either with it, or?
Well, that's what kind of intrigued me by it, because I did see something that I wanted to take a look at here together, if you guys want to.
You mean is Abby normal somehow?
Well, it's not abnormal. Let's see here. Yeah, the seal's already been broken. If you guys would entertain me for a moment here, I'll take out a couple screws.
Oh no, he's doing surgery live.
That's right. No, not the warranty label. Well, it's already been broken, so no fret there.
Do a simulated burst of it.
Simulated burst. No.
Did you see Mark Siegel's comment about those warranty stickers? They weren't actually enforceable.
Oh, they
What?
weren't?
So this one that I've been keeping is no good?
No, it's good. It just
took me
not worth the
4
paper it's
hours
written on.
to peel mine off.
Yeah, I got this one off of a CoCo that it actually had a stack of them. So I figured if I ever needed to take in my CoCo for warranty repair, I could just glue it on to whichever I needed to put it on and then just take it back.
Make it claim it was pristine.
Now this is how the CoCo users lose their screws.
Right?
Because you pull that off and they fall everywhere and
I thought
they roll onto the floor. Yeah.
We've lost our screws long before taking the cover off.
I thought they were loose a long time ago.
So I saw something in the here. Get my camera. It's kind of weird to sit there and look at your camera and try to move it in the right position. There we go.
Yeah,
You need a monitor.
It's
so you
backwards to where you think it is.
I know.
You need to have registration lines. It'll
There you
tell
go.
That's a good idea.
Yes, it did have what I thought it had in it.
Tandy
So,
upgrade.
we had the Tandy upgrade in, so that was very cool to see that.
If
The
your
easy bake oven.
That's right. If your room's cool, that'll help you.
Yes, there you go. But this is because there was this style, and then there was the
Aftermarket.
Yeah, there's the aftermarket one. What was another common one that Tandy sold? The Peripherals Advantage. Didn't they sell that one as well?
This
Tandy
one
did?
here?
Performance peripherals?
Practical
Yes.
Performance Peripherals. Sorry, I had,
Yeah,
I had my
this
And
one
they
here.
had two different AXX number boards that were just
No,
slightly
don't take it
different.
off. No.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Don't
Oh,
do it.
well,
No.
avoid the warranty.
No.
I don't know
This
if I'm able
one's
to.
safe. You can plug it back in without it shorting out to the motherboard
You
beneath.
should remove your keyboard first and get better
Yeah,
access to it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it. I don't have a pliers here with me,
Was
so
there
I can't
something
take it
to
off to
see
look at
under
it.
it?
Yeah, some chips if you want to see the chips. No,
Right on the
it's-
video cam.
Yeah, this is going to have to. This got to stay in there for right now. So
Focus.
Well, did they leave
What-
the
what
old memory
model?
in it?
What's
what
that?
model gimme does it have? 86 or 87?
Good point.
This would be a 86.
Oh man.
Oh, is that the-
Sparklers. Sparkle City.
Some girls all have all the luck.
Well, were you trying to see if they left the old memory in?
I'm sure they probably didn't. I mean, it was very.
It wouldn't work.
Right.
So that's the idea. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's-
this one hugs really close, so it's really hard to see if it's in there or not. Let's see here.
You're going to plug it in?
Sure. Oh, I hear a click of the relay. So
No smoke.
no smoke.
Dang.
So let's take a look here real quick here.
I was looking for a big kapow.
A big kapow. I don't take a lot of fear in the whole, check things out first and all the
Yeah, that's for
precautions.
wimps.
Yeah, we don't.
It'll be fine.
I just dive in.
Yeah, we don't show fires here. We are a fire.
Checking
Keep
things
them
out is for
fire.
people that still have eyebrows.
Right?
Or hair.
Just plugging in my highly reliable
Well, looking at that ribbon.
switcheroo there. So
You have a Magnavox hook to it?
do I have a Magnavox hooked to it? No, but let me do one thing here, gentlemen. Let's do this. Let me switch my video. And let's see
Hi,
what
Barky.
happens.
Woof.
Let's see what happens here.
Vicky, look, a dog.
My dogs agree.
I'm sorry, this is taking too long. Can we move along now?
Oh, I may have to do a little. I may have to do a little work on this, guys, unless I don't have something connected right. Let's see here. I didn't test it out beforehand.
It's
so-
a good color of black.
Push the gimme chip into the socket properly.
At least it's not that ugly green.
Turn it
Yeah,
off
we
first.
should be getting a little bit of. Let's see here. Let's go like that.
Hey, Brian, it doesn't work, so you might as well just send it to me.
Might as well just send it to you. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I need
Let's
an
see here.
86 gimme machine. And our viewership has gone up 3,000%.
Oh, let's see here.
Almost.
There's a nuclear green.
Ah, let's see.
Yeah, but there's no lettering on it.
Ooh, that's not
Oh,
good.
there you go.
Yeah.
Birdie.
Did you move the memory board before when you were pulling at it?
Nope, I plugged in the HDMI cable all the way.
Yeah, you better check the memory board. It's
Yep.
not looking happy.
Yeah, all the unpluggable things. That often
No
works.
That looks
Sad
just
for-
like the CoCo
sad
3 here on my desk.
Says no
Thank you.
signal.
How about that?
There you go.
There you go.
What did you change?
I popped the gimme out and popped it back in.
No.
Yep,
I
that's
think,
all I
I
did.
think Nick said that.
See,
Well,
we're not
good.
we're not crazy when we suggest that.
In that short of time?
What's that?
In that short of time?
Sure. Yeah, I just took my screwdriver and into each corner and lifted it up and popped it right back down in there. You bet.
Do a print mem. Should be 24 something.
It'll be higher than that because there's no disc. Oh, no, I guess
There
you're
is
right. Yeah,
20
sorry.
24 8
21 or something when it's disc or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, a little bit lower with disc. Yeah.
You put all that memory in and all you got's 24K, huh?
All right. Unless you're
That's
running
because
ease
basic-
of use, right?
Basic
Yeah,
doesn't
really.
know.
There you go.
Thanks for the commercial break.
There you go. Yeah, this segment of the show is brought to you by Ease of Use. Okay, let's see here. Let me get myself situated because I have something I was kind of hoping to be able to.
Show the three guys.
What's that?
Show the three guys.
Oh, let's see here. That's the reset with the F1.
Yeah. No.
No, Control Alt and reset.
Alt control.
Control Alt reset. There you go.
Yep, I always
There's
forget that
graphic.
one. So there you go. Okay, let's see here. How do I want to do this? Trying to do this live a little bit here, so let me set this right here. And let me switch my video again here, and I'll do one. I have one more thing to kind of show / demonstrate potentially. Let's see here. Grab my other camera here, guys. I only have two inputs on this computer, so it makes it a little bit hard to switch all this HDMI around here.
One time I had a CoCo 3 that, you were looking at the cursor and it was missing a color. And here
okay.
it turns out I had a bad transistor on the board. One of the color transistor went out.
Sure.
And Paul Barton fixed it for me. I ordered
okay.
another one.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah. But it's
So
just
this
weird to see one color missing.
This item here is already out of the box. I saw a guy make a comment on the, I think it was the TRS-80 or the Tandy 1000. I think it was the Tandy 1000 Facebook page, and it's like, well, that's interesting. So I went out to eBay and did a search, and I thought he was just commenting on it because he bought one. But what he was actually referencing was the one that was out on eBay, and so I grabbed this. I'd never seen this before. It's called the Max.
That's a flight sim stick or something, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And so you can see here it clamps onto the front of your desk. But what was interesting about this one is that they make it for different types of computers. So you got IBM, Tandy, and other. And I really think this is intended for the Tandy 1000 because...
Yeah.
And let me show you. But I'm still kind of curious, though, to see how it might work. It might still be kind of fun to play certain types of games. Let me get it out of the box here.
Well, at least it listed in the important computers.
Right. Now, I haven't tried this thing out yet. So you can see here, this moves in and out. And it rotates.
So pulling it in, I'm assuming, is the Y-axis of a joystick equivalent,
Yeah.
and then the turning left and right would be the X-axis, and then you get your buttons.
Right.
With the proper yoke.
I would not recommend playing Jumping Joey with it because it wouldn't look good.
No.
And then you also have this right here, which on this is labeled as throttle control. But it has two cables coming out of it, which are your DINs.
Does it use two joysticks?
Oh, use two joysticks? Okay, that's interesting.
All right, yeah.
Because throttle control, I guess, would need an extra axis you don't have, so that makes
but
sense.
it has a center pin.
Right, but it also has these fire buttons here. So what I'm kind of curious, and like I said, I haven't tried it yet. It would be cool if the yoke in and out and the, rotating this would be your X and your Y, and then your fire button. So I'm hoping that we can ignore this.
Well, that might be on the second joystick port. That might be like the Y on the second joystick.
That'll be on the second, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of hoping here. So kind of back to my little setup here, if I can. Give me 1 second here as we talk about this. I'm going to clamp this to the front so I can kind of hold this. I know you guys can't really see this too well because I'm going to bring... Oop.
Because that might actually work with something like Flight Sim 2, which does use both joysticks, if I remember correctly.
Second here. Sorry, guys. I haven't threaded this too far. Okay. Live show. Is that what we're doing here? A live show?
Something like that.
Okay. There
Don't
we
worry.
go.
As Exile in Paradise Heidi pointed out, everybody yelled asparagus before the show began. So.
Oh.
They know us too well.
But the darndest thing is it keeps showing up every week. I just don't understand it.
Right?
Because they're
Sure, they don't either.
It's like watching a traffic accident. You just can't take your eyes off it.
Or people in an abusive relationship, they just can't leave it.
Yeah, they just like abuse.
This is kind of the problem here with limited desk space.
The clamp is not stripped.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know. Can you zoom out your camera a bit too? Because we can just see the tail end.
Yeah,
of it.
well, I'm gonna switch the video over to the CoCo 3, and I'm gonna actually plug this into the CoCo 3 that I just unboxed. Was kind of my my plan there, but this thing it doesn't clamp on far enough. So let's see here. Let me bring the CoCo back into the picture.
Don't lose your keyboard spacer.
Would they not fit in since they have a center post?
No,
to
that's fine.
CoCo 3.
On the CoCo 3 it works fine.
Yeah, this CoCo 3, so yeah, we should be.
Even the CoCo 1 had a 6-pin.
Yeah, the CoCos did it. The Dragon didn't have the middle hole, right?
Yeah, they have the 5 with the 270 degree. Yeah. Okay. But all the CoCos have a 6-pin, even if they don't use the 6th one.
You just gotta hope that you plug those into the right ones, left and right.
Right?
Yeah. We'll find out here.
It won't matter until he fires up a game.
On the CoCo 1, there is a mod where you can wire in the center pin.
Yeah, you can do the CoCo 2 also.
Yeah, the jack makes it hard to do that, but yeah, it's possible.
Switching.
I think on the CoCo 2, I think it's like tied to ground or something like that, so you'd have to cut a trace or lift up the...
Yeah, on the CoCo 1, the center pin is exposed, so you can cut it on the top of the board and bend it out and then tie it down.
Just go to basic and type a little program to read the joysticks.
Yeah, I think I
probably has one saved.
Let's see here. Waiting for that little SCART thing to disappear off the screen there so I can see.
The diagnostics cartridge.
That takes
will
forever.
test.
Let's see here. I think it was this
Ah,
one
right.
here. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm pressing the fire button there. You can see the fire button saying right.
Yep.
And okay, so it looks like they're doing both the same thing. So no matter which fire button, I'm getting that. So let's I'm rotating.
Actually,
the
it's changing between the red and the black box, so it's registering
you got a
both
red and a black
separate
box
buttons.
Okay, so I'm rotating the yoke right now. I'm rotating it so you can see it going to 0 and up to, doesn't quite go all the way up to it only goes up to the 20. So I'm going to push the yoke in and out now. No, not getting change there.
I reckon that the
This
Tandy
is
1000
wired like a
one.
PC joystick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wired like sisters, like a PC, which means it needs the CoCo joystick conversion.
You seem to have some of those, I believe, if I
Does
remember
it have a
correctly, Red.
switch? Is there a switch on the bottom maybe to set it? For CoCo or Tandy?
Nope, I
Oh,
don't see anything.
what they're doing here is they've only got 5 volts to the pot and then a wire going back to the PC, and they need to have 5 volts and negative to the pot and a wire going back to the PC.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a simple mod to do.
So you can see here, I'm actually sliding that throttle thing up and down right now. So on the left there, you can see it's at 0.
Y-axis on the left.
Yeah, now actually is doing the full range.
Huh.
So I think all the
That
parts
looks
are here
familiar.
for a simple little pod here, and I might be able to make this make this work.
Jiggle a few wires and
Yeah.
Nice. I like the push-pull real airliner stick thing.
Well, yeah, I thought that might be kind of fun for some of the games that are out there, you know, to be able to.
Unfortunately, you might have to rewire it or make an adapter for different games so you get the right controls to the right inputs.
Right.
Only there was some kind of a switch.
Something for Nightmare. Something for Nightmare Highway.
Right.
I think
So
I hear
I'll play with
plug
that a little bit
there.
more. Maybe I can share some more again in the future. When I get a chance to play with it. But so yeah, I just wanted to kind of show some of that to you guys live, and we can kind of talk about it through it. So that was kind of fun. So, but that's all I got for you guys today.
Live.
It was kind of fun.
Kind of fun.
And
Yeah.
that's the show, everyone. All right, roll the credits.
But thank you for letting me share.
I actually just a curiosity question. Like, I know that was more meant for flight sims or flight battle sims, etc. How common are those to find these days? If you find a Tandy 1000 version, like if Rick wanted to make an adapter for it, we wanted to patch some games to use it properly. I'm just wondering how easy is it to find those things?
I haven't seen another one since I acquired this one. I do have a search on eBay to let me know, and I haven't seen another one pop up or even a different version of it at all. Tandy 1000.
So they're pretty rare then. It sounds like.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
It's too bad.
I do have a question. I mean, it's the joystick for the Tandy 1000 works on the CoCo, right? I mean, that's because I didn't have to do anything.
Correct. So I think here, when I was kind of reading on the outside of the box, because unfortunately there's no manual with it, though, I believe it did plug into the into the 2 joysticks port, but I think they may have had a driver that was written to look at the ports a little differently and work just with their flight sim program.
Okay, because I know that my joystick is actually the deluxe joystick I have actually came with a 1000, because I have the 1000 with it also.
okay.
And it works directly in my CoCo, so I would think that anything for the Tandy 1000 would have the +5 and 12 connected up to the pods.
Well, the box said Tandy. It didn't
Yeah.
say which Tandy.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because
It could've
the bad Tandys have the PC style joystick connector that's rectangular.
Oh,
they don't have the round
the
one.
15.
So I guess
Yeah.
the round DIN is your key to it's good to go on a CoCo.
Well, and the other thing too is we're assuming that this thing is working correctly. So it probably wouldn't hurt for me to probably get a voltmeter out and do a little bit of a continuity and resistance check to see what's what.
And maybe clean out the pods. Yeah.
Yep.
So
So
Do you have a
but I
Tandy
thought-
1000? Even try it on there too?
I do have a 1000. But, I'd have to.
That might be worth trying too with some of their programs.
Yep. So,
All right.
yeah, very good.
All righty.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to do a quick update on my own. I got earphones that I can actually hear out of, so you don't have to hear echoes here. They rattle a bit in my ears, but they work. The other,
you sure that's them rattling in your ears, or?
Yeah. Yeah, because when I take them out, I don't have the rattle.
Result of the sound going directly and rattling things around inside.
No, because the cobwebs cushion all the sound and loose parts.
Cobwebs cushion the loose nuts.
Yes. The other thing is that I got OSHA certified. My house is now safe for a L. Curtis Boyle to visit.
Say what?
I've been OSHA certified that my house is now safe for L. Curtis Boyle to visit.
What's OSHA certified?
OSHA, it's the safety standard. It's a safety, yeah, occupational safety. Yeah, occupational safety and health.
OHS. Okay, I didn't know it by that pronunciation. So
yeah, yeah. My soldering iron died, so my house is safe for you to visit.
Actually, it would have been safe anyway, as long as I don't have to touch the soldering iron. Then I'm fine.
Yeah, the parts were supposed to come
today. Are you sure
today,
things don't just burst into flame when you go near them, Curtis?
Yeah, pretty sure. I mean, I'm sitting by my CoCo 3 here and it hasn't burst into flame yet. So.
Well, yeah, but you don't have a soldering iron sitting beside it.
No, it's in the closet. I hide it away from me so I don't touch it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and so hopefully the new parts will be in today, and then my house will no longer be OSHA certified, but still. All right. Next on our project updates and acquisitions, who wants to go next? Terry, Mark, Rick. All right, Mark, go ahead.
All right. So I found it in the mailbox on Thursday.
And you don't know how it got there?
Ooh.
Nice.
I think some guy in a white and blue truck dropped it off.
Santa.
So they came in finally Thursday, just in time for the show.
I know why they were there Thursday, because I was only staking it out Monday and Tuesday.
Geez, Nick, you're getting a lot of orders.
And I figure since I was ordering, I better catch up and get the 0 hour too, since I missed it the last time.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So this doesn't get lost. Mark Siegel said that the joystick circuits in the computers, Tandy 1000 and CoCo, are different, but the sticks are identical.
Yes.
That would make sense.
All right. And Terry,
you also had a project update?
Yeah, you had a...
Yeah, I can do mine, I guess. Let me... Hold on a second there. I just got a couple things. First was this cartridge here. I don't know if that comes through.
Ooh.
Yeah, the MicroWorks SDS ADC assembler, editor, assembler, monitor, etc., which was the standard until EdTasm came out, and it was actually a bit better than EdTasm. But a lot of the earliest CoCo games, machine language games, were developed using that software because it came out a full year before the EdTasm did.
You know,
MicroWorks made the DS69 too in the same box.
Yeah, I was gonna say they use that same box for the digitizer.
I think you're right. I have one. I should have brought it over here. Sorry.
Boxes were hard. You got one that worked, you used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually pretty sturdy. But anyway, I got that, and I'm trying to do some research. I'd actually like to try to program something with that. The other one I got, I don't really know exactly what I'm going to use it for, but I hadn't seen that before.
The Bitbanger switcher?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was usually used if you had a printer and a modem and you were just running off the Bitbanger. You would hook up the 25 pin to the modem and the other one to the printer, and you just switch which one you want output to. So,
Jason, does that get you a little misty?
Is that where
That's a
Jason
Radio
got the
Shack
idea?
project.
Well, it's not. I'm not misty about it. I mean, I do sell something similar that's available, but it doesn't have an off position like that one does.
That does look like those project boxes Radio Shack used to sell.
Absolutely, yeah. I have the Joey serial switch that does that. So but,
It looks like they did rub-on letters on the front of it.
Right.
All right.
That's classic.
All right. And last but not least,
right?
Rick.
Oh yeah, I did have some things. So here's the first. Wow, why don't I fit? Am I on the real screen? On the Zoom, it doesn't fit. I've gotten too big. Somehow I'm not scaled. Well, anyway, the idea here. Well,
Yeah, it's too wide on the live stream too. So
we'll go small and stick it in the corner where it's.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. So
that just went back again.
Windows says, "Oh no, you can't move this window. You've got to resize it or close the other apps, or you can't just move a window." Okay, well, anyway, I finally got this project back that I've been working on. Here's a prototype of an audio capture board, and for my usual process, I built a couple because they're always broken and I need to fix a few. And here's the finished one. What's wrong with this? It's got no stinking bodge wires. It just worked. I don't think this has ever happened in my entire life before. What? I drew something up. I designed it. I ordered it. It came in, and it just works.
Can't you just put some faux bodge wires in?
Yeah, I should put some fake wires in there because,
Now you can make bodge wires and spell out your name on there as an autograph on the board.
Yeah.
You've got enough real estate there to put a real-time clock in it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, this is a prototype. It's going to be a daughter board on that Orchestra 180.
Those capacitors on the
Capture
side.
can be. Excuse me.
Those capacitors on the side, they clear the ground clamps.
Oh yeah, yeah. This plugs in. This has been tested, and she runs, and it's all good. So now I'm back to my original problem, which is testing the amplifiers on the Orc 80, and I was using this thing, which wasn't good enough. So I considered hooking it up to this, but that seemed a little too much.
Because your neighbors will love your testing.
I don't think it'll be loud enough.
So I went with these. It's the near field monitors. So here's my new computer test equipment. I have near field monitors and Type 1 eardrums, a little old but still working. And to do the testing of the capture card, I was able to use this very high quality function generator at a whopping 10 hertz under disk basic to see this wave being tracked.
So those are 4 inputs or outputs?
Yeah, those are 4 inputs.
Okay, so if you have a multi-pack on, can you have all of those work like you read 4, 8, 12?
Well, you're going to run out of CPU time somewhere along the way. The idea is just so you don't have to keep moving wires around to do 4 different sounds.
So you're going to add a second CPU?
No, this is just in the audio world. You don't want to be moving cables around in the middle of doing things, so you want to plug it on your tables. Don't touch anything. And how many samples can you take at one time? I don't know. It's fascinating. But anyway, that was my.
Would this work? I wonder if this would work with the Studio Works or whatever that was called that Oblique Triad put out, because they had a hardware audio capture card they sold for a while too. That was 8-bit, and I don't know where it was addressed, but there might be some software that supports it already. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh, that could be. The idea behind this one was it's new hardware. It's much more capable than the old stuff, so it's sample and hold. You don't have to. I mean, it's just so easy to live with. So we'll see what advantages that gets us. Anyway, that's where we're headed.
Now you were mentioning this is going to be like a daughter card for the Orc 180, so that you'll have the 4 voice output and input on the same. Like if you plug them in together, is that what you're saying? Or did I
Yeah,
misunderstand?
well, so the captures that we're making would even work on an Orc 90. You already have. But presumably there'll be a lot of stuff done with the Orc 180 where you have separate, like you can have game sounds on one channel and music on another channel and not have to mix them together and yada, yada, yada. And then, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, then not everyone's going to want to make captures. So I'm probably going to make the capture thing a little daughter board that you can buy or not and plug in if you want to make your own sounds, or if you just want to play someone else's sounds. Then you just get the.
So sort of like the Disto supercontroller with that little daughter card, you could put like a 4-in-1 or whatever if you wanted it, or you could just have the disc controller.
Exactly. Like so you don't have to buy crap you don't need, and I don't have to make 2 different products to do one thing. And
cool.
Looks like Mark B's got his CoCo running some lights on the floor there.
No, that's just me still trying to get through the box of Christmas lights.
Oh, we got to fix all them bulbs.
Yeah, I've been about 2 weeks trying to go through all these strings.
Oh, that's not a night light for going to the bathroom?
No. So then I can finish putting the outdoor Christmas lights up.
So are they variable strings?
Variable?
Nice.
It's an array.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Bruce just mentioned that the private chat's showing up on the stream. It is. So I just took a look.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
How'd you manage
Little
that?
behind the scenes look.
You can see all of us trying to call asparagus all the time, so it's entertaining.
I'd like to say hi to everybody watching the private chat.
So, Rick, how is the output board coming along too? Like you've been working with Nick, and Nick's working on some software for it. So I know it's definitely a work in progress. Still, just wondering how that's coming along.
Still waiting on that slacker Nick to get his software finished.
Well, I've got some software. I can see if I can run it and just bring it up if you want, since we're talking about that card now. Hang on,
Do you guys get your wires crossed because you're so far apart?
Right.
No, they just quantumly entangle, and then it's all instantaneous. Mark Siegel, by the way, while Nick's setting up here, Mark Siegel's asking Rick, did you put a programmable timer on your Orc 180?
No.
No, it's exactly an Orc 90 except with more voices. We didn't want to create another new CoCo card that's different from all the other ones.
You don't have to use the programmable timer though, but future software could.
Well, there's no real need. I use the built-in programmable timer, the standard CoCo 3 one. Is my screen shared?
Yep.
Or?
Yep, we're seeing it live on the stream.
Oh,
on
okay.
Zoom.
All right. Okay. So that's the software that I'm putting together to run on that 4-port Orchestra 180, and it's still very much at early stages. And this is the waveform editor, where you can. Currently, it's got some built-in waveforms. It's got sine waves, square waves, triangle waves, and ramp waves. But it will also allow for user-generated waves, where you can draw a wave any shape you want. So you can have a custom waveform as well, or waveforms. But I haven't done that part yet. And various sample rates. You just move over and select a sample rate. The highest being 22 kilohertz. 16 is the next one down. 11 and 8. Generally, all the standard sample rates I'm trying to put in there. And then you can choose the DAC channel. And since Rick's card does 4 DACs, you can just select whichever one of the 4 DACs you want to send this particular wave to. The whole purpose of this program, though, is to ultimately you build waveforms. There will be a sample editor as well later on, where you have samples, which maybe we can take recordings made with the recording part of Rick's hardware, or import a already made waveform. And then with those two tools, you then move to a, I don't know what to call it, but a composer, whereby hopefully you'll be able to then compose music, and then you put those waveforms or samples, and you sequence them up so you can make a song. So basically, it's like a mod player. But
how many lives do you get?
you get 4. When you lose 4 lives, you're dead. But that's it so far, and I got the user interface working yesterday, so you just sort of, it's all keyboard controls. I figured I'd just keep it simple, and you can come up here. And I don't know if I've making a ramp tone there. Yeah, I know it's pretty scratchy the ramp tones, but if you switch to a sine, it's a little bit cleaner, I think. Yeah, so yeah, I've got to check a few things. And that's why.
Can you crank it up to 22 kilohertz and see if it makes a difference, or is this a pre?
Oh, yeah, no, I can actually.
I can hear two voices there now.
Yeah, I know there's something wrong there. So still debugging, but that's why I needed you to. I was asking earlier, Rick, if you had a oscilloscope so we can actually see what's actually coming out. Are my sine waves actually sine waves?
Sure, yeah, you have to shoot me a copy of this and I'll go.
Yeah, I'll send you one after the show so I can see if I'm on the right track. And basically, yeah, but that's basically what this part of the program, it's only a part of it where you create the waveforms and save them or load them or whatever. Then there'll be a sample section where you do proper digital samples. So you can record, say, a real guitar sound and have that in there as well. And then ultimately, you then, once you've got all your waveforms and samples and whatever else done, you then compile a musical tune. But anyway, this is all just...
Does Rick have to pay $5 every time you send him?
No, this one's free. The headaches and frustrations are free.
So it's kind of like a CoCo version of a tracker, a mod tracker from the Amiga type thing.
It is, yeah. Well, it's being modeled on the idea that the old Fairlight music synthesizer was. So it's sort of working. I'm trying to work it to be more like that. It's not exactly the same software, but it's still it's working with the same concepts. And the thing is that early Fairlight was a predecessor to what became Amiga mod files later. It's a similar idea. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep it old school, make it very much like an early Fairlight, but on a much smaller computer. Anyway, it's a little personal adventure I've been doing for years. I mean, I've made many attempts over the years to do something like this. This is just the final or the latest iteration of it.
So it's going to save off sound files, right? And play them?
You would save them off. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So is it going to work within 512K 2 meg?
Well, 512K for sure. That's what I'm doing it in at the moment. 2 meg, well, we'll see later on. You know, if the whole thing even works, then I could make it run 2 meg later on. But yeah, it uses Rick's 4-channel orchestra 180, which is 4 separate 8-bit DACs. Exactly like an Orchestra 80, except it's got an extra 2 channels. And so the music in the end will be four sounds, and the fact that each of those channels is a separate DAC, a physical separate DAC, means you don't have to mix them, which buys you a bit of speed in the software.
And it's full 8-bit samples too, not 6 like the built-in DAC.
They're full 8-bit samples. It's being written for a 6309 just to get more speed. So without putting any other real smarts in the hardware, but we're basically trying to make this into a super Orchestra 90, you could say.
But this is the point where we're at right now when he says, we don't have to mix them. It means I have to mix them. So I'm going to need
that's done electrically.
Well, yeah, but I'm going to need this test software so that I can test the mix on my actual hardware against some pretty decent speakers to make sure I get all 4 channels balanced out, no matter how hard you're driving the various 4 channels. Which is something that's going to take a little bit of mucking around with this.
Right. So you're going to want a version of this that actually outputs all 4 channels at once.
Be nice, or just something that will just.
Ultimately, that's where it's going. But at the moment, this is like just a waveform editor. So you're working on one at a time. But I can compile it in such a way that it sends one sound to all 4 at the same time, so that you can then balance them that way.
Yeah,
Now,
I'll talk to you.
Is this going to be something where you can compose something and then you record it off on
Ultimately, that is the goal. Yeah.
Okay.
You actually compile something.
And then you could also maybe include these sounds in a game. Maybe too much.
No, because
effort?
this thing. Yeah. Well, this thing's doing everything with the CPU. You know, the CPU's running flat tack to create all those sounds, 4 channels at the 22 kilohertz. It's pretty well devoted just to doing this music.
You could use it in a game as a splash screen, like while you're just displaying a screen and play music while like that type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's no additional smarts in the hardware. You need something that's got its own.
Now,
process.
following along with Ron's question, Nick, if you record in 8 kilohertz, do you think you'd have enough CPU time to do a background sound using the timer?
Well, maybe at that level, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Ah, that's cool.
I've been thinking about 22 because I'm trying to keep this as high
Quality,
fidelity as possible. Yeah, and I've only been thinking about music at this point. But yeah, you could probably do it at 8 kilohertz, and it might have time.
Yeah, because even like on a splash screen, you could just have it so that it monitors a PIA or something. Did you hit a key to abort that to start the game or something?
Yeah,
you can actually run a pretty decent quality sound, 4 8-bit channels at 22 kilohertz, playing music while your splash screen's up.
If you have the card as well, yeah. But anyway, this is just a little personal side project, so I don't know if this will be a major Nick Marenti's release, the latest Ferrari grabbing product. I don't know if it's going to be anything like that. This is just something I've always wanted to do. So now that I found Rick, that
I was just going to say, somehow you managed to suck Rick into this too. So.
Well, I had to make 5 of them, so I've still got 3 more I can sell prototypes. Anyone want sound capture software? Boy.
Yeah, if it's like Studio Works by Bleak, I mean, I can't remember if they did stereo, if they just did mono, but it was a full 8-bit. It was a hardware sound sampler, and they had a pretty fancy front end for doing a lot of this type of stuff too. And it was meant more for developers. Like, you want to create sound effects for your games, you'd record them at full 8-bit, and then you could downsample the 6 to output on a game in the CoCo, for example.
You could, but my goal is to basically make a mini version of the Fairlight synthesizer with the CoCo. So.
Don't you think Danielle would love to have this thing when you got it?
He would. He would actually. He would. He'd love this because he's right into Fairlights, of course, himself. But it's been a sorry. Yeah. It's just a personal project. I've always been interested in the Fairlight, and I've always wanted to do the music. And of course, I know nothing about music, so this is quite an uphill battle for me, but over the years I learn a little bit more each time, and hopefully this program will actually show that I've actually learned something along the way.
So is there anything like this in the other computers hardware around?
Hold on,
there are other music programs, like the Amiga does have it, for example. But I want to do one on the CoCo, and I want to do it the way
I think we're off the air.
Hello? Anybody hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we are red.
Anybody?
Yeah, we're at red.
Yeah.
We're at 0.
It's just swirling around on YouTube right now.
Just there, it's back up on Twitch.
All right, we're green again.
Yep, back to life.
All right.
Okay, we're back. Sorry to put everyone to sleep.
It was so bad you put the internet to sleep there and stopped.
That's right, yeah.
Every time you mention Amiga, it went off.
It went off.
I think the internet just called asparagus.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Now this is a basic program. I can actually list it. So the only part that's machine code at the moment is the actual play routine, which has to be machine language. But it's a basic program. It's not anything fancy. So
Everybody get your screen grabs and go ahead and key that in by hand later.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's what the software is, and I'll send it to you after the show, Rick, and you can tell me if I'm on the right track.
No, Rick saw that listing and he's already filled it in on his computer. He's real nifty. Quick.
And in about 10 minutes or so, there'll be an MC10 version.
Yeah.
So if Simon was watching, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for the update from both of you, I guess, and thanks from everybody else who did
that was
updates.
an unplanned for one.
And I'm assuming that's all the updates we had. Did anybody else have any project updates and acquisitions?
I could throw in one acquisition here real quick.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Okay. And see here, we get the.
Oh. Hey, it's the right way up too.
Oh, let me correct that. There we go. All right.
Actually, I got mine today, yesterday as well. So it took 3 weeks, but.
Oh, there you go.
Cool.
Cool.
And you
good
still
stuff.
got the shrink wrap.
It does, yes, because I have the digital copy of everything that's in here.
Yeah, well, there's probably no need to.
Yeah, there's really no need because it has Rally SG and pipes along with Jumpin' Joey. So
So you just keep that so that you can sell it in 10 years for $500,000.
So today's entertainment costs, this is a real bargain.
Does it have that new game smell?
Plastic.
Yes,
That's all
it
I got.
does.
But is it Australian plastic?
No, because it came from the U.S. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
But we don't have to tell everyone that.
Well, it's got the Australian flag, so.
Yeah.
And a genuine cartoon kangaroo.
Yeah, genuine.
Genuine cartoon, yeah.
All right.
Genuine imitation leather.
I'm Corinthian leather.
All right.
No kangaroos were killed during the making of this game.
The playing it, oh my god.
Many were killed during the playing of it.
That's right, during the gameplay.
And that's a perfect segue to go into the game on results, I think.
There we go.
And instead of a high score list, we're going to have a deceased list. How many died playing it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I would have won that one.
Go ahead, Sloopy.
And Sloopy, to you.
Oh, no, I'm just a host, nothing special. No, what I was going to say,
like normal.
Was now that it's still the beginning of the show, so I wanted to do another product update so that everyone knows that the show is going to be changing in the new year, starting January 7th, and we're trying to get this information out as much as possible. That not only is the show changing and from CoCoTALK to CoCo Nation, but the time will be changing from 1 p.m. Eastern on the CoCoTALK to 2 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for CoCo Nation.
Wait, what?
And also channels will be changing for where you're going to be viewing and watching it.
Yes. We're already streaming on the CoCo Nation channels, which you can see the links here in the
description.
Chat. Yeah. Well, in the chat, the links for the new CoCo Nation, the Twitch, the YouTube, the Facebook. Yes. And there's other social media sites too that I'm not very familiar with. And so, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone's updated that the show will start at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern U.S. time.
Oh, so I can sleep in.
Yeah, I get an extra hour sleep. Cool.
Yep. Now, one thing I do want to mention, since we are live casting on both the old channels right now and on the new ones, if people can kind of switch over to the new ones now, even though we have another show remaining that's still officially CoCoTALK, you guys can get your channel feeds switched over so you're ready to go in January. So the next show next week will still be on all of them, but please switch over now so you don't forget and miss the show.
Please switch over right now. We'll wait.
Yes.
We'll wait. Go ahead and do it right now. We'll monitor the viewers and we'll continue the show after everyone switches to the new channel, right?
Yes, go ahead right now.
Right now.
And for those that have problems with time zones and such, if you live on the west coast of the United States, the show will start at 11 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. So you'll be able to sleep in an extra hour.
Yeah, Mikey just commented on that in the chat here. He said, "Yay, 10 a.m. PST is just too early. I can get most of my housework done before the show now."
Yeah.
Well, then he naps during the news anyway, so.
Yeah.
Now I have enough time that I can do everything on Saturday morning rather than doing it Friday night for the game on stuff.
Yeah.
Like picking the game.
Hey, Sloopy.
Yes?
Can I really quick show something? It kind of relates to this.
Sure.
Let me see.
Is it a clock?
Yeah, real time.
Oh, then it's not on the CoCo?
So we kind of put out on the new Facebook group that we were looking at doing some different logos, and we've had some submissions, so I thought maybe I would just show you just a sampling of those. If anybody's got any ideas for logos and media for the new show, please upload them. But I'll really quick here. Is that showing up for you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ron Delvaux sent in a couple, but this is one that he'd sent in that we're kind of using right now. We would like to do a vote on who, which one's going to win and all those type of things, but that's one of Ron's. Alan's daughter, she's a graphics artist. She also sent in this one. And she's got a couple other versions of this, but this one actually looked pretty good on the black background, so I put that on there. Mark Siegel sent in this one and a video as well. Let's see. Paul Shoemaker just this morning sent this version in. Kind of as a background, we would we want to add a couple things to that, if, as far as the logo or the wording of the show. But I wanted to show that one, and then lastly, Ron had done
I like that one.
Kind of a banner as well. So.
And I think we can actually use several of these for different purposes. You can use them for splash screens on pages. You can put them on headers for discussion and stuff.
At the very least, I'd like to put these on the in the slideshow. I like to put all of them in the slideshow at least.
Yeah, I'd vote we steal them all and run.
On that last one, is that CoCo 3 just pixelated, or is it rendered on a CoCo?
Ron,
Paul Shoemaker's one.
Yeah, the one that's on the screen now.
Yeah,
Ron's still here.
It doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't have the artifacts you usually see in a low resolution image blown up. It almost looks like it was actually rendered on a CoCo.
And he sent in some sample ones, and I just snipped them, so it could be just from me. I don't know. The other stuff looks pretty clear.
Yeah,
I don't think Ron's on.
Yeah, but I do like the way that looks, where it actually looks like it's being displayed on a CoCo, as opposed to a high resolution image.
Ooh, a CoCo on a CoCo.
Yes.
My only comment, that one, Mark Siegel's, the nation could be a little bit lighter blue. It gets lost in on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
I like that one with the planet there, but maybe the text needs to be changed. But I do like the planet because it feels like a nation.
Yeah.
When it ends up on Facebook, it's a nice circle and everything, but nation kind of gets lost because it's too dark for the.
I think that font is too 70s. Yeah, the font is like 70s. If we could if it was more of an 80s font, I think that would be okay. But that looks that looks more like late 60s, early 70s. That looks like something you'd see on Laugh-In.
Man.
I think
it's the Laugh-In
hippies. Pixel. There's a
Liners.
pixel just out of place, so I think that needs to be fixed as well.
It's got lens flare and everything.
I thought that was on. I thought that was just something on my screen I was trying to clean off.
Oh, hang on. Oh, that's a bit of spit on my screen. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Hey, I did see in the chat that Paul Shoemaker said he is working on the CoCo Nation part right now. So that would be for this image I've got listed up. So
I really like that image.
yeah, thank you guys
really-
to everybody who's been submitting these, and keep them coming. I'll try to host these images for a while, and then we will have a poll up for what would be the primary image or two, and then like you guys said, I would love if we could just kind of have them throughout the show and different platforms that we have. So thank you for everybody, all the hard work.
because we can use them for like contest headers.
Oh, yeah.
There's
I
been
like
suggested
the,
of doing like programming contests at CoCo Fest that Bruce Moore's mentioned. This one here right now would be perfect because it covers all the machines you'd be writing for.
It looks very low res though. It's yeah.
Well, that's the point. I think.
Yeah, it has everything on it but the show name,
which he's working on.
I like the artwork though. The second one on the left. Maybe we can combine that artwork with the with all of them. Maybe we can have a blue planet with our little CoCo cartoon, and then the words CoCo Nation, whatever, on the screen, like combine it.
So Terry, can you transfer all those over to the Discord?
Yes, I've got
the
most
media
of them
folder?
except for Paul just uploaded his, but I will get those all over there.
Okay, so I'd like to at least include them in the slideshow.
Yeah.
Also, a reminder to everybody listening and watching too is that the Discord is not changing. We're just changing the title of some of the channels to reflect the name change for the show, but the same place you go for the Discord for the CoCo stuff is not changing at all.
And we'll get the links for all the new places. I think maybe we'll add those to the description. I know Alan's been adding them in the I don't know what do you call it, the YouTube one, but we'll try to get that a little more available to everyone, because we're now on Twitter as well, which we haven't been before, and just a few new things. So thanks for all your hard work, guys.
Thanks for everybody making suggestions and submissions.
And
we're trying to improve the show by getting rid of David Ladd, what we did today. So,
Why? What do you mean?
We're not getting rid of David Ladd. We're going to be featuring him.
Wait,
more.
what?
Yeah.
Oh no! That's
Yeah.
it. I'm switching to another show.
You're switching to CoCo Nation.
And now with 20% more David Ladd.
Okay.
Nah, seriously, it's just not the same without David Ladd. So, hope he's back next week.
I'd also shout out to Grant. I know he just had surgery and he's recovering, but I want to thank him for all his work. He's been pretty instrumental getting a lot of these the financial side of this done. So thanks to Grant as well, and get well.
Yeah, where is he? I mean, I thought he was supposed to be here.
He's probably on drugs. We don't want him here right now.
What do you mean we don't want him here?
You mean he's on prescription painkillers prescribed by his physician just to be clear?
I was gonna say, do those drugs come with hookers too?
No, just blackjack.
Ah, okay.
Sorry to interrupt there, Sloopy, but I thought that was a good time to add those. So
Yep,
thanks again,
that's
everybody.
good. And thank you, Terry, for all that you do behind the scenes. I mean, a lot of people don't know it, but you do a lot behind the scenes for this transition from CoCoTALK to CoCo Nation. And you don't get the thanks that you deserve, and I want to make sure that it gets out there and that people know all the work that you're doing behind the scenes.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, but it's all you guys. I'm just one little cog. I'm the broken cog.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're the ones that are seen, but you're one of the people, you and Exile in Paradise, Alan Murphy, both
Grant.
of you. Yeah, Grant Leedy, all of you are actually doing a lot behind the scenes that's not seen on the show. And it's because of the work of people like you that allows people like me to host and Curtis to do news and Ken Waters to do the Game On segment and all that. It's because of your foundation that we're able to do this show. And I just want to make sure that all of you are recognized for your work, and we appreciate and thank you for the time you put into it.
And you guys even support Nick's Ferraris because you keep buying his stuff, so thank you for that too.
So what you're saying is blame Terry.
Yeah, that's probably it. I would also say Mark too. There, he's been instrumental in a lot of this. So
yeah,
thank you guys.
So you're welcome. All right.
Well, apparently Apple's taking credit for everything.
Okay, are we ready to go into the game on section?
Yeah,
I think so.
All right.
Let's buy Nick another Ferrari.
Let's push this button. Well, since we all can't own one, we might as well just have one person own it instead of no one owning it.
Share screen.
That would be the wrong results video.
Well, just in case anyone was wondering about last week's game on results and you missed it, there it was again.
Just in case you missed last week, here's the results from last week.
Previously on the Game On Challenge.
Do you want me to just play
stare
it locally,
blankly.
Loopy? Okay.
Ken, you weren't kidding about playing the same game multiple weeks.
And we will see you again next week. Apparently no audio came through on the
yeah, I just checked
video.
It wasn't coming through.
Really? It was showing my the thing going up.
At least that chart is actually visual as well, but for the audio listeners, they won't have a clue what anybody said.
Just for the audio only listeners, you had to actually read the high score thing there.
Yeah, I don't know what its issue was.
Oh well, we saw it.
Yeah, because
a lot of you you didn't hear it, but Buck Owens being at the very bottom of the pile there, that was the only screenshot he put in. So we know that he played a lot better than that. But
for the audio listeners, of course, didn't see any of that chart. You might as well just say who the winner was.
And oh, crap, Brian Walsh, was it? I don't have it in front of me.
Yes, Brian Walsh.
Yeah. So Brian Walsh was the number one with a score of 16,440.
And
there were 25 people. 25 people that played this week.
And on a side note, Paul Shoemaker, stop bragging. Continue.
Okay, so as I was saying, this, well, I guess you didn't hear it in the video, but I did say this was a brand new game by Nick Morantes. So no matter how many old magazines I went through, I could not find any reviews for it. So
Then you didn't look hard enough.
Well, there will be a review coming on the CoCo Show by the Amigos there coming up soon.
Yeah.
So,
because I saw several reviews Thursday.
No, you're confusing finger gestures.
Those are reviews. And they
And
were
also-
two fingers up.
and they were telling you, Nick, that it was their #1 game.
For those of us that will never get to the higher levels on this game, this is Buck Owens actually playing on the higher levels, just so we can see what they're like. So, this game was obviously a version of Frogger, except that you're playing with a kangaroo, so it actually makes sense when you fall in the water and die.
And it has an extra level.
And it has an extra level with sheep and cows, which
You're
is
seeing
on the
right
screen
now if you're
right
watching
now.
the video.
Yeah, so you're
mean,
running through a stockyard. I don't know how many
Joey be able to
kangaroos.
jump over the fence?
How many
Depends how tall it
kangaroos
is.
in Australia actually run through stockyards, Nick?
It's a baby kangaroo.
No, there are quite a few.
It's a baby kangaroo. He can't jump as high.
Could
Yeah,
be just
there
a
you
really
go.
tall fence. You're looking from the top down, so you can't tell.
Yeah, that's right. And there's background music, which you don't see in the video.
No, it's there's two voice background music, which is really good. Some Australian tunes. So almost not
AC/DC,
annoying.
right? No, I'm just kidding.
I actually could stand to listen to this one for a little bit before I turn the audio off. So
Actually, that's a good thing. I want to question, actually, because I talked to Bode a little bit, and he's one of those people that really likes having the background music on a game. He never shuts it off, and I know Buck doesn't shut it off either. So how many people here would shut the music off, and how many would keep it on while playing a game? It doesn't have to be just this one, but in general.
I generally shut it off myself after a little bit, after a little while.
Leave it
I'm
on,
the
but maybe turn it down.
Me personally, it doesn't matter because after I'm playing for a little while, I don't hear it at all. I usually turn it off because I usually have the sound loud enough that it annoys other people, so I get yelled at to turn it off. And
Like I myself, I always leave the music on because I jump between games. I don't play the same game for like a week straight where I would get sick of it, but you might have a gaming session where you play like Donkey King and then you'd switch over to Jumpin' Joey or something like that. So as long as I, switching between games that have different music tracks, for me, that's part of the gameplay. And I think Bolt's the same way because they review games on, dozens and dozens of platforms that they just leave the music on because that's part of the unique flavor of the game. So I was kind of curious.
When I
what other
initially
people-
play a game, I'll definitely listen to the music and keep the music going. But, after a while, I just shut it off because
Well,
generally,
the
like,
music,
not really a problem with this game, but usually it's such a short, repetitive amount on these old 8-bit systems that of music that it gets grating after a little bit.
Now,
Well,
in Nick's
the-
case here, he's actually got 3 different tunes for each of the sub-levels, and he's also got the auto volume turns down
yeah,
after a certain amount of time.
it does lower the volume more after the first run of the tune. So yeah, it's a bit more bearable. But you can switch it off. That letter M at the bottom center of the screen, that tells you the music mode. So if it's a blue M, like it is there now, the music is on. When you press the M key on the keyboard during gameplay, it goes red and turns off the music. So it's a music volume indicator, that one.
Oh, I thought that was a storm grate.
No, that's it's telling you music is on or off.
And another question for the people that
that's right.
played it. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
You don't read the manual. I forgot about that.
And another thing too is that that Nick has not usually done in most of his games is that this has the option of keyboard or joystick control. And I was curious as to everybody on the panel that participated or even the chat, which way did you play? Did you play with keyboard controls or with joystick controls? I went with keyboard controls for sure. I much prefer it over the joystick.
Keyboard.
On the real hardware, I used keyboard.
I used joystick, but I did play with keyboard a bit, and
do you use the cluster CoCo 3 cluster arrows, or do you use the CoCo 2 layout?
I use CoCo 2 layout.
I use the cluster.
I use the Control and Alt.
Yeah, that's what I used.
But I think the reason that I like using the joystick is because sitting in front of my computer here playing, I always lean back in my chair to play, like get nice and comfortable. And it would be hard to reach out and actually use the keyboard from that position. So,
yeah.
In the chat there, Buck said he used the keyboard too, and he's the master, so that's what everybody else should be following, I think. And then JB Lars uses the joystick.
Well, it just seemed to me that the keyboard controls were more responsive, but that may just be my imagination.
It was easy to accidentally double jump with the joystick. So definitely the Black Beauty did not work at all for this game.
Oh, no. Free floating is no good.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. Keyboard should be a little bit more responsive because the joystick uses the same DAC that's being used to generate the music as well. So this game does pretty well flog the DAC pretty hard to create music, to create sound effects, to create joystick reads as well. So hence why the joystick probably is slightly less responsive because of that.
And Buck being a robot himself,
being a robot,
directly tied into the computer he would want to use the more responsive thing.
Yeah, he just jacks in into a plug in the back of his brain.
Actually, Buck in the chat said he used a split arrows version as well, the alt control version, which is the proper way to play it. And he said also the Black Beauty is a hoot in this game, which is the most sarcastic comment I think I've ever seen him say.
Oh, look at those logs go. Woohoo.
Scott Cooper also chimes in. He says, I never turn off the music for games. Grew up playing Nintendo with lots of background music. I use keyboard more than I use joystick for most games.
So I think one thing that you'll have found if you did try this game, it's a little bit harder than most versions of Frogger. I think you start out like the cars are going a bit faster and stuff in the river is moving a bit faster. Did anybody else find
I didn't find it harder than the actual Frogger from the arcade. I thought it about the same myself, personally. But...
Yeah, no,
I thought it was a little bit harder myself, but once I got used to it, I guess maybe not, but...
Well, it certainly is lower res than the arcade. The CoCo can't do the same color and res.
Yeah.
But it's nice and colorful.
Yeah.
Well, that's my motto. Put the color back into the color computer.
And you're a bit more forgiving than Frogger on like when you're jumping into the final slots on the top of the third screen there.
I made it almost automatic. Yeah, I figured because I always found that annoying even in the original that you go so far only to miss going into the hutch or whatever it is at the very end, or to have difficulty getting it in. I figured, well, I'll just make it automatically. If you look carefully now, when he goes in, even if he goes a bit crooked, you watch this. Let's see if he goes for the bonus. Yeah, notice it was a bit to the left, and then it pushed it to the right for you automatically.
Definitely more forgiving.
Yeah, it's a bit more forgiving, and even when getting collisions as well, the objects can touch you. So a bit. So there's a bit of leniency there. The idea is not to make the game frustrating, or less frustrating.
So it's not pixel perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
It's
Yeah, this game
semi-graphics.
wasn't frustrating at all.
Yeah.
Well, compared to other Nick Marenti's games, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's all relative.
Yeah, they don't have to
You
worry
can
about.
see
Yeah, they don't have to worry about repaving the road anytime soon. I repaved it in Kangaroos.
Now, Nick, I think you should confront the elephant in the room here about another bug discovered late.
Yeah, there was actually, and this bug wasn't there originally. It's when I was must have been when I was well, as everyone knows, there was a bug that I fixed in a version 1.1 and got out to everyone. But in the process of fixing that bug, I introduced another bug. So that's the sign of a real programmer. Fix one thing, break another. So
It's
there
actually
is a
another bug that we'll see in a minute or two here if we keep watching this video.
Yeah, it's well, more than a minute, but it's level 6. If you get
Well,
to
he's on
level
5
6,
right now, isn't
it
he?
hangs. He's on 3.
Oh, he's only
3.
on 3. Okay, I guess I got to fast forward this a bit.
Yeah, so now you're on 5. When he completes level 5, it hangs. I must have done something and I've wrecked something. So yeah, real programmer.
Yeah, because basically once you complete level 5, it starts to draw the screen for level 6 and then just freezes, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So.
And only
I'll
one
fix
person's
it.
ever actually seen this
Only
in real
one
life.
person's actually done it. Yeah, that Buck Owens.
I've seen
So
it.
I figured.
I've seen it. I watched this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you watch the video, but no one's going to be able to play unless you're a robot like Buck. But I will fix it.
Give me 3 or 4 months. I might get that good.
I'll have it fixed by then anyway. So then.
So it's just like when you buy a car, the first year of the car that comes out, you wait.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
actually,
right.
in the video games here, you buy these immediately from Nick so that you have the flawed version, which is going to be worth more money in the future.
Well, the CD, if you bought a CD, you do get the older version. So level 6 does work in that one.
This is
In
a
fact, it's got
modern
the
game.
gimme bug in it, though.
It's got another. Well, yeah.
So this is a modern game. The day one patch is the size of the original game.
That's right.
Except at least we measure these games in K, not in gigs.
Yeah, it doesn't take an hour to download the update as soon as you plug this game in.
I like Buck's comment in the chat too. He says, "Man, that streamer's internet sucks."
So in a couple of years, Brian Weisler will have all 7 versions.
Yeah, it's not mine. That's Ken.
Actually, I think it was Buck's original
I think
stream.
it's the
isn't it, Ken?
source. It's the original source stream. It might be helped along with my crappy internet, but so here we are. We're about to get the level 6 bug.
The kill screen, as it were.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's there, gets his bonus, and notice the score is a little higher than the 200 he posted. And this is the kill screen.
Yeah. Bombs there.
Neat.
Like I said, I fixed one, created another.
That would make it easy to cross.
So it switches to crossing a road.
I'm a real programmer.
Yeah, that's the night. That's the night road. Where's the headlights?
I mean, with that kind of skill, Nick, you should be instantly hireable by Microsoft. I'm figuring.
Leave the
Yeah,
bug
that's
in there.
right.
And just add like 1,000 points for getting to that screen.
Yeah.
By the way,
So
Nick,
then
you are
as I
planning on doing an
understand
update to fix that, so we'll. Look forward
Yeah,
in the
I
future.
haven't done it yet because I've been a bit busy with other things. And I figured this is only just for one person anyway. So
Yeah, you
And
can
as
just
I
send that
understand
out
it,
to
Nick-
Buck Owens and be done with it.
Nick, you were saying that once you get to level 6, then that is as hard as the game is going to get? It just
It
keeps
was,
repeating
yeah,
level 6
originally-
after that?
it would repeat 6 basically after that. It would still be 7, 8, 9, but they're
Yeah.
all the same as 6. Yeah,
Okay.
because 6 is hard. Everything goes real fast. So he wouldn't have lasted long anyway, even if he did get into 6.
I don't know about that, Nick, because when you were originally getting this play tested, you predicted that nobody would even make it to level 6, and then Buck.
Yeah,
I'm actually interested to ask Buck in the audience there that did he make it to level 6 before Nick broke it? And if so,
did,
how well did you do on level 6?
He was dead pretty soon. He never made it to 7, that's for sure, but he did get into 6.
Do you ever have thoughts of maybe making level 7 like impossible?
It pretty well is. Not impossible, but it's so hard. Yeah, you can pretty well say it's impossible.
Level 4 is impossible.
Yeah, Buck just commented. He said Stockyard to level 6 is nuts. That's an exact quote.
Yeah.
It's a stampede.
So, any tips or tricks, I guess, for playing it? Obviously, don't go to level 6 because the game will crash. So you want to avoid that.
Okay, if my tip
don't die.
Getting a decent score. My tip is on the first level when it's the easiest. Farm the bonus dots on the water screen. Because you have time, you're going to get a lot more points jumping back and forth to pick up the bonuses than you are to getting your Joey up into the home quicker.
Yeah. One thing I would mention, and Nick mentioned it a little bit earlier too, is that the collision detection is quite friendly to the player. So you can, like, say, jump behind something where you actually touch it on the way up, where normally you would think you would die. You can actually just skirt past. I use that in the Stockyard screen quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
And use keyboard. I think it's more exacting than the joystick personally, but that's, personal preference. And split keys, of course, like the CoCo 1.
Unless you're lying back in a reclining chair and trying to be comfortable. Then you need a joystick.
Yeah.
There's much more advantage using Rick Ewan's board compared to a stock CoCo board, for the keyboard. If you were to use a keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
No, much the same, really. Because
he's got the
CoCo
fix in
3
his program, don't you?
Yeah, he's got it so you can use the up and down arrows or the alt control in a CoCo 3. You can use both. You can switch whenever you want. You don't have to do anything different.
So it depends on what
they're
you
all
want.
simultaneously active.
Okay.
So one of the things I did try to do in this game is to try to cater for as many people as possible. Not only making it run on as many CoCos, CoCo 1, 2, 3, Dragon, emulators and all that, but also for the different game preferences. Like some people prefer the diamond keys of a CoCo 3, some prefer the CoCo 2 layout. If you have a CoCo 3, you can still use a CoCo 2 layout then, joystick. So I tried to cater for everything in this game, except for level 6.
No, it's a good game, and it's a really good deal
game.
if you buy the DVD version of it here, because you get 3 games in one. So.
Yep, and all 3 are excellent games that I do highly recommend.
And they're all
that's my
semi-graphics.
that's my entire semi-graphics collection. So all 3 games that I've done in the last, whatever it was, a year or 2 years, which were for CoCo 1 and 2 and 3 and Dragon.
Yeah, if you want to zoom me up here for the video audience here, I've got the back of the case here, which has screenshots of all 3, so you can see what you're getting in that triple pack.
So we have all played all 3 as Game On challenges. So
color goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the 3 games you get all combined into one pack. So it's a really good deal. And Nick, I expect the check in the mail tomorrow.
So that's if you buy the CD. The games are available individually as a download, and it comes to a little bit more than the CD. I think they're roughly $8 each.
Yeah, this is a case.
Download.
If you have not gotten any of Nick's games before, it's worth getting the DVD package. I mean, he'll email you the game ahead of time, so you don't have to wait. But it's actually cheaper to get the package with all 3 on physical media than it is to get the 3 individual digital downloads. So if you don't have them already, this is a really good deal for Christmas, I would say.
I was wondering when Nick was going to hold up the EOU package.
Well, he's got this trash can to the side, you see, and that's where he puts it in storage.
That's the
So it's actually
sign of
one of the
EOU.
things. One of the interesting things that Scott Cooper just brought up in the chat is that he misses getting points for just moving the Joey around. But with Nix, you only get points for moving forward.
Well, that's how Frogger was.
Yeah, and you can't get points for moving back and then forward again.
No.
So you can only have a set number of movement points you get each level. You can't just run and back and forth along the bottom like we have in some of the other Frogger games we've played and rack up points.
You do get a bonus for your timer, though, so the faster you get...
The faster you get, yeah. But the original Frogger was the same. You only get points when moving forward.
Hey, Nick, have you ever considered, like, making a game that has games in it? Like, since we have a lot of memory now.
Like Zero Hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, you know, you could link games together.
Yeah, 0 Hour.
Or Rupert Rhythm in 0 Hour. Play it all the way
well,
through.
Rupert Rhythm is more, it's the same gameplay,
Yeah.
just different layouts, but with 0 Hour,
Yeah.
you have like a casino in one level, and you have like, elevators in another, like they're quite different.
But it's a good way to link them together, that your guy gets to practice by playing Rupert Rhythm, and then he has to go save the world on 0 Hour.
Yeah, I think what Ron's saying is to put, like, complete, like, Pac-Man on one game, Space Invaders on another game, mini game. Yeah.
Well, have Joey wind up on Nightmare Highway.
Yeah, that's right.
Or add into something like 0 Hour, little arcade games at the bottom that you can take a break and just go play, like Jumping Joey.
Yeah.
And then you could have Roadkill game after.
Or you could just run Nitrous 9 and then just pick any game you want.
Yeah, just double click,
Running-
launch it, and if you get tired, switch
That's
back.
right.
and
There's
keep
your
going.
game, and then you multitask. You can just jump between games. Then.
Or run a couple of them and just hit clear to go between them as you're playing. So.
Well, you could play Kron.
No.
Yeah, the Tron clones. I mean, that's 4 fairly unique, different games too. So.
And
there are some
Poltergeist.
arrays.
Yeah, that's right.
As Buck Owens is
Forgot
saying,
about that.
Poltergeist.
Yep.
I'm going to write a
Yeah,
game.
Poltergeist. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, there's a few of them like that.
Okay, well, have we stroked Nick's ego enough for today?
Not for him, but for everybody else, I'm sure we have.
Yeah. Hang on, just a little bit more up. That's enough. Okay.
Well, what's the website you get this Jumpin' Joey from in these semi-graphics value pack?
The what? The
website where we can find all these wonderful games.
Oh, okay. Well, www.nickmarentes, or one word, .com takes you to my website, links you to all my games.
And they're not all games that you have to purchase. There are some that are free to download on there.
Yeah, I'll fix that. No.
Daddy needs a new Ferrari.
I should have mentioned that. I should have mentioned that.
All website flips upright when you go there.
That's how they get you started, and then then he starts charging.
Gives a little bit away for free, like Gem Hunter.
Just wait for that subscription model to start.
Yeah.
Free to play.
So I've got plans for another game, which I'll probably start early next year. I won't say what it is. I'm looking forward to it. Something a bit different to the norm, and I don't know yet if I can do it. So I'm not.
I'm
saying
hoping you can,
anything
because
yet.
you've told me a bit about it, and I'm not going to say
Ooh.
anything about it here. But it's one I'm looking forward to if you can pull it off.
I'm going to make my
Send
guess that
money.
it'll be Nick's version of Color Scripts It.
Is
Did
it
you
like
tell him already?
No, I thought it was Handyman.
About-
I was sure it was Handyman.
I got an idea for a game. Wouldn't it be cool if you start off the game with CoCo Motherboard and there's something wrong with it? And then you have to go to each chip and find out, test it somehow and figure out what's the best way to get it working. That would be a neat game.
That's kind of like Marty's Nightmare, isn't it? Where you have, I think I have a hardware problem, and
but I think I can predict it. Have you started on the title screen for it already, Nick? Because don't you always start with the title
No,
screen?
but I've got plans. Yeah, I've got plans for that.
Top
Okay.
down guy.
Okay, well, Shall we move along here and look at next week's game?
Yes.
Yes,
And,
please do.
Okay.
Sloopy, just to mention here, because we've gone fairly long now without a break. I think we'll take a break after this before we get to the game on news.
I agree.
Yeah.
I need coffee.
That's what I was planning on doing, because otherwise I'm going to need a diaper change.
Oversharing again there, Sloopy.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
How come we don't
Now-
have like a cocoa break instead of
Before we get into what next week's game is, this is not next week's game. I just want to make a reminder that everybody should be playing. What the heck?
Coco Barn.
Coco
Yes.
Bon?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
And under recommendation from the author, Paul, though, please play with the right color set.
Yeah.
Yes. So play Coco Bond, because coming up in a couple of weeks, we are going to start submitting our own levels to play and be voted on for which levels people liked. So get used to it. Play it.
when do the multiple games start?
In the new year.
Oh.
It'll still only be one game per week, but they're going to run longer, so they're going to overlap.
Yeah.
So I guess I should
Yeah, go
mention
ahead.
that a little bit. What I'm going to start doing in the new year is, I think to make it not too complicated, each game is going to run for 2 weeks, but there'll be a new game announced each week. So there'll technically be every week there'll be 2 games you can choose from to play. And so if you like one, you can play it longer. If you don't like it, you can just play it once, get a score in, and then move on to another game.
Yeah. I'm assuming the live game on challenge that you'll be kind of recommending both games to be played
Yeah.
simultaneously by people. Yeah.
So you can
Yeah,
come
whichever's
and play.
better.
Well, and actually, in the live game on challenge, we don't even insist that you play the game of the week. You can play any Coco game. Our only stipulation is it has to be a Coco game.
Yes, that's his stipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no more Atari games, Sloopy.
No one even noticed.
So here is next week's game.
Now, because of the break over Christmas, this is actually going to run for 3 weeks, isn't it?
This one?
No, we have a show next week.
We have a show next week.
Oh, okay, yeah. So next week's will be the one that runs for 3 weeks. Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So does anybody recognize this game?
No, I've never seen that one.
No, is that
Dark
Module
Castle?
Man? No, it's not Module Man. It looks similar, but it's not. I don't think.
Ooh, I've
Curtis
stumped
Cousins.
L. Curtis Boyle. Woohoo!
This is originally a dragon game, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it was.
Oh,
I
so
do
it's-
recognize it. I just can't remember the name of it.
So this
So
is
it says
Cuthbert
Rupert
Goes to
Smart.
Medieval Times.
And Kieran's not in here to remind me, so
Actually, very close, Jason. Very close. It's not a Cuthbert game, though. It is right here.
Robin Hood. Oh, okay, yeah.
Robin,
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
No.
I have. I just couldn't remember the name of it.
So it's kind of like a Donkey Kong type game. You have to go through, pick up your stuff. You got to get the key, and then here I'll go back to the
Oh,
other.
Mike Chilton.
screen.
Is that the same guy that makes those car repair manuals?
So I'll go back to sharing this screen. So basically, you're the little guy in the middle there, jumping from platform to platform. The object is to get the key
Doing the splits.
and then get up to that door. You're trying to save Maid Marian, who's in the top tower there.
Yeah, and you've also got like green arrow. Those are shooting across. You have to dodge.
Yeah, you've got arrows shooting across at you, and you've got a guy dropping boulders on your head.
And are there multiple levels, like different
Yep.
screens?
Yes,
Is
Right.
Maid Marian a Fraggle?
possibly.
Pretty close.
With that
She's
color
a cross
hair.
between the. Yeah. Well, I have it in a weird color set here because my capture card was acting up, so I had to put it so that it was a little bit clearer. Put it in. So the
So I'm
colors are
assuming
not
that the
exactly
Coco
perfect.
version of this is definitely on the archive, or is it joystick driven and it doesn't need to worry about any translations from the Dragon?
I got it off the SDC thing, so I believe it's in the archive.
Oh, better find
Yeah,
that.
it's on the archive. I just pulled it up.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and
Dave Berry in the chat says this game is screaming for my color fix.
Yeah, it's
There
up
you
and
go,
running.
Dave.
Yeah, if you wait until about 2 hours from now, Dave will have fixes for colors, and they'll be ready for to put on your cartridges.
There you go. So that is the game for next week.
Okay.
Great. And I'll point out it's not on Curtis's site.
Yeah, it's among the other 700 that are not on my site. So
that's my new goal, is to find as many games not on Curtis's site as I can to try to make him feel like he has to get them on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, World of Dragon is a good place to go because there's a ton of those I haven't got on there yet. So
There's even the
collection.
There's even the Dragon cassette cover on the archive as well.
Like with instructions and everything?
Let's see. It's got the artwork. I'll see if the instructions are there too.
Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about in the thing was our live Game On challenge.
Oh, right. Yeah, because we had a pretty good participation.
Let me just get back to that real quick.
I'm just gonna push this button.
Hello, I'm David Ladd. Thank you for watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading live CoCoTALK show. ESP 8266-01 RS-232 TTL Wi-Fi network, 4-pin DIN, Bitbanger, DB9, PC IP, DriveWire.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie.
Hello, I'm David Ladd. Thank you for watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading live CoCoTALK show. ESP 8266-01 RS-232 TTL Wi-Fi network, 4-pin DIN, Bitbanger, DB9, PC IP, DriveWire.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here with you. And in case you didn't know, I've actually got merchandise, right? So I've got now 2 DVDs. This was my first DVD I released last year for the 25th anniversary last Chicago CoCo Fest. This features 20 videos and 3 hours of color computer game videos. This is my second DVD. This is a brand new one for the 2017 last Chicago CoCo Fest. And this one features 13 brand new color computer gameplay videos that you won't see anywhere else.
RoboCop.
Ooh, RoboCop. Gotcha, sucker. This is not bad. Not bad at all. Yes, I did it. Oh, freaking right. Look at that. I made it past yellow belt. Very cool. Oh crap, I am getting the crap freaking bombed the hell out of me here. Okay, the square guy looks kind of like a puckering sphincter. Alright, there we go. Game over.
Oh, that didn't last long.
That's what she said. Okay, so I've got to jump over the spikes and under the ball. So, if you like my videos and you want to help support a starving artist, head on over to 8bit256.com and grab yourself a copy of one or both of these DVDs because they're both awesome. And if you like color computer gameplay videos, you might like these DVDs. So check them out. Thanks for watching my videos, everybody.
In a world where RGB produces black and white video, one cable can make a difference. Switcheroo. CoCo3SCARTcable.com.
Fletcher, I don't need that report tomorrow.
Great, JT.
I need it tonight.
But JT...
Fletcher saved $300 on her office away from the office. Radio Shack's revolutionary Model 100 computer. It's a word processor, phone directory, and dialer. It even communicates with the office computer.
Fletcher, how's that report? Fletcher.
Radio Shack's Model 100. Save $300 and put it to work.
You'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go far.
Wow.
Come back to
the new show. Oh yeah.
Where is?
We're back.
Yes, we're back. And
so, just real quick before we jump into the gaming news.
Yep.
Curtis. I did want to mention that Robinhood actually does have instructions built right into the game. You do need a joystick for it. And I did forget to mention the live Game On challenge that we had on Thursday night, so I will just quickly look at that. So as you can see, we had a lot of people in playing Joey. Some people were just hanging around talking, but I think at one point we had 7 people playing. So
yes, we did.
We did pretty good there. So there we go, 7 people.
We even had the infamous Buck Owens in.
Yeah, Buck Owens even came in, and unfortunately he short-circuited a little bit and only made it to level 5. So. All right, well, that's so it was a good, successful live gaming evening. So yeah, join us again this coming Thursday to try Robin Hood, or if you don't like that game, you can play a different one. You can even play more Jumping Joey. Or any one of Nick's other fine, incredibly polished games. I'll expect my check in the mail, Nick.
Like Neutroid?
Neutroid. That's Curtis's favorite.
It's my favorite. I think I'm the only person that likes that game, am I?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess I'm the only person that has good taste.
Yep.
All right, well, that's all I have to say, so.
All right. We're
Is
going to...
Soupy's check in the mail?
Taste anyway, good or otherwise.
All right, let's run this nice little intro. Take it away, Curtis.
Okay, let's see if I can get the right window here. Okay, if you're seeing Paul Shoemaker's name near the top of the screen, then I'm sharing the right one.
Yep.
Hey, so Paul, we mentioned last week, released his winter version of Ghost Rush, which he promises the last one. And literally just a couple days after that, he released that camel game he's been working on. Which we showed a video of the animations of before. So you can download that now on the Facebook CoCo page. He's already submitted to the archive. I didn't get a chance to check this morning to see if it's already there and active. But it's originally a creative computing game from 1979 that he gussied up with a lot of fancy graphics. And it's written in 100% machine language. The original version was written in BASIC. And you've actually got some optional CoCo 3 palettes you can cycle through by hitting the PK, similar to what he does on Christmas Rush. And if you like the kind of Oregon Trail style game, it's kind of along that line a little bit, trying to navigate your camel. But it's a nice free download. Works in a CoCo 1, 2, or 3. I don't think this one right now runs on the Dragon, though, Paul. I think he's still in the chat there. He can correct me if I'm wrong, or if he's making a separate version for that. But yeah, it's pretty good. The animations of the camel and stuff are quite well done. So go grab it now. Okay, next up after that, we have Mr. Dave, who's actually in the chat as well. Dave Erie. So he's been, as we mentioned earlier, and he's probably going to be doing on this game challenge for this next week, is he's been patching some of the games to give you some different colors, specifically for RGB monitors, because, of course, most of the artifact games show black and white. In this particular case of the game next week, I think it's just to change the stock 4 colors that you're kind of stuck with when you pick P Mode 3. So this here is a couple of old games called Color Blast and Creature Feature, both by the same author, originally done by John Nikowski. And he's got a bit of a history because he actually I might as well play the video while it's going here too. I'll just kill the sound off a bit. So he's put these onto one single card and he's patched the colors. So both these games. But basically, John was one who actually entered the Spectral Associates Prism Trophy contest in 1982. Of which Whirlybird Run was the winner, and his game was called Space Sentry. It came in 3rd, so he was the final of the top 3 that actually got awards for it. So then he started his own software company, which is what he's got here, which went under a couple different names, and he made I think 4 games total. He had a boxing game too, if I remember. So, but the original ones were quite differently colored than this, and of course, an RGB monitor showed up as black and white. So that's the first of the two games if you haven't seen before, and then Creature Feature, which is basically you're a hunter and you're a standard, baseball cap, and you're shooting randomly weird things that hatch and come after you. So anyway, I believe he's actually put those up for download on the Discord, so if anybody wants to grab those patched versions and run them on an RGB monitor, or if they want to make an actual flash cartridge or even a real cartridge, it's actually set up to run on the cartridge too, so you can actually put that in as a plug-in card. So you can go grab those too. And thanks, Mr. Dave. And we're looking forward to your patches for colors on this next week's game. Robin Hood. Next up, this is kind of follow-up to last week. Video Game Magazine's channel on YouTube has been basically doing scans of all the pages of electronic games. One of the earlier video game and electronic games, so handheld, LED-based games and stuff too. And it was one of the few that covered multiple platforms that actually did cover the CoCo a fair bit during its first few issues. So we mentioned, like last week, we showed a few. So this one here, you can see the page I've got it stopped on right now. You can see a picture of Quasar Commander in the lower left corner, which is one of the original 5 titles released for the CoCo with the launch of the CoCo 1 itself in 1980. And they'd announced 9 cartridges. I think 4 got delayed a month or two. They got released more towards the end of 1980, but Quasar was one of the originals that actually was out. And has
always
scale.
was a
what?
Always was a weird game because of the colors. You're in space and it's yellow. I always thought it was a weird looking game, so I never did play that game.
I mean the game itself, I think it was kind of trying to be like Star Raiders, but it was a 4K cartridge. But the scaling graphics and stuff, I mean, the author Robert Kilgus, who also did Skiing, which is one of the best 3D skiing games of any machine at that era, kind of used the same scaling routine, same as Dino Wars does. So he was really good at that kind of math I don't understand. And he has a couple different ships that scale up. He's got that standard TIE fighter looking one that's in the screenshot here, and he's got a few others too, and there's like radar views you can fiddle with and stuff. So it's actually a pretty decent game for 4K. It kind of showed off what a 6809 could do with the the math functions built in. But it wasn't the funnest game to play. I'd say Project Nebula is a much better Star Raider style game.
That was the better one there.
Yeah. But there's multiple mentions of the CoCo in this one, and I think I wrote down a couple spots. So let's fast forward. Well, no, I know Firefox has been giving me issues with buffering, but we'll see how we do here. I can't read that thing. So I'll let the panel pick, but there's 2 CoCo games pictured on this page, and just wondering if you guys know which ones are which, because they actually don't label them with the name.
Space Intruders and Polaris.
No, Space Intruders was yours, Nick.
I mean, what was that one called? Space Assault?
Yep.
No, it was, yeah. And Polaris?
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
So Space Assault, well, these are both 4K games, but Space Assault is one that the Image producers made. It's not my favorite Space Invaders by far. It's joystick controls are a little bit too fast because they use the analog to position your player across the bottom. And the sound effects are, I guess the polite way of saying is farting noises. So it's not my favorite one. But Polaris is actually one of the best home computer ports of Missile Command, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's my vote, yes.
Yeah. I know Ron is very much partial to defense, and if you're a fan of the Atari 2600 version of Missile Command, that is a better clone of that. This is more cloned off the arcade with 3 separate launches that you can actually control with the keyboard, and both left and right side keys, so if you're left-handed, right-handed, doesn't matter. Also plays pretty good with a trackball on this thing.
And the colors are more suited as well.
And they rotate, like you get all 8 colors as you're playing the game. It has like night missions when it's dark blue and stuff. So
Polaris was a really early game that made the CoCo look good.
Yeah, good sound effects.
This game so much better than other machines did.
Yeah, this is one of the ones when I took my CoCo to high school to compete against the Apple IIs and the Ataris that other people brought in, because on Friday evenings we'd sometimes stay late and everybody would bring their home machines there so we could all try each other's stuff, right? TI-99s, all kinds of stuff there. And this is one of the ones. Zaxxon was another one that was really well liked on the CoCo. Donkey King and Polaris was one that they all said, yeah, this is the best Missile Command out of everybody's here. So, yeah, I totally agree. That's a Prime one. I'm not even sure who wrote it. I think it's the guy who wrote Racket 2 and stuff. What's his name? Robert Arnstein. And Mark Siegel, if he's still in the chat, may know for sure, but I think that's one of his, but I'm not positive. And then I think there was one other CoCo mention here a little bit later. Let me get the timestamp. Yeah, 646.
Which issue was that?
This is issue 2.
Issue 2, all right. Of what was the
Electronic
magazine
Games.
called?
Electronic
yeah, I think
Games.
I've got them archived. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, it's on here. So if you can see on the right page of the 2 pages that are scanned here under Computer Playland, which is the middle column down near the bottom, they review Meteoroids by Spectral Associates. So as I mentioned last week, this is one of the magazines that actually was getting into third-party stuff, not just the Tandy stuff, this early on. So Meteoroids was one that Tandy eventually liked so much they bought it out and resold it as Microbes. So this is the original release by Spectral themselves before it got changed to the name. And they were kind of a little bit, you know, they basically liked it. Now, at this point, and I think, can't remember if Meteoroids did this or not too, but basically you use both joysticks because one controlled the firing direction, the other one controlled the flight direction. And I can't remember if they kept that in Microbes or they changed that. I know their Space War did the same thing too. So it's a bit awkward to play if you're... I usually played it 2 players, actually. I had one person controlling the ship movement and one controlling the firing. That seemed to work better. But it's just cool because, I mean, most of the video game magazines that were out at this time, like Video Game Player and a bunch of others, they just covered the basics, like the VIC-20, the C64, the Atari 400, 800, the consoles, the television, the ColecoVision. That's it. They just covered the main guys. They didn't cover us or the Tier City Model 1.3s or any of the slightly, you know, lesser common machines. But this one did, and this is one of the reasons I actually did buy this one fairly regularly back when they were first coming out.
Yeah, it was a good mag, that.
Next up, this is not strictly CoCo or Dragon related, but kind of. So a lot of you are probably familiar with the game for the Dragon called Airball, where you're basically a big white ball and you got to navigate, not get punctured on spikes, and you have to jump around, and it's kind of an isometric view. And it was got multi-voice music in it. It's one of those pixel perfect games too, which is really difficult. Apparently there was plans to make a version of it for the NES a while ago, and it got canceled, but somebody actually went in and finished it now. And it's now available on the NES as of this past week, and it's in full color now instead of black and white, because the original is 256-192 black and white for the PAL Dragon specifically. I don't think we've covered Airball on the channel, on the gaming, have we, Ken? Pretty sure we have not.
No, I do not believe we have.
Okay, because if we do end up picking it, if you guys think Nick's game's frustratingly hard, oh boy, are you in for a treat.
That would be one of the reasons I have not picked it yet.
It makes Manic Miner and Jet Set Willie look easy. Once you get kind of used to controls, it's not too bad. Like I could actually get through a few screens, but it's interesting seeing this where they actually have it in full color, because that's quite different. And it's available on the NES and on the Game Boy Advance. So that's it's kind of cool that, you know, a game that was created on the Dragon eventually got ported to CoCo, and now it's being ported to like the, you know, the actual console games in full color. It's kind of, it usually goes the other way around. It doesn't usually go that direction as far as porting. So that was really cool. So thanks to Brian Joyce for pointing that out, because I would have missed that otherwise. Next up, this is a channel on Twitch, and also you put some on YouTube, kind of like we do, so it's live on Twitch. And he's been going through the history of video games. Now he's covering consoles, home computers, and the arcade, and he does it by year. So he did some stuff in 79, and now he's doing 1980. And he's trying to do it in chronological order. So if he has release dates specifically for certain games, he'll do those first, and anything that's left over that just says copyright 1980, but he doesn't know when it came out, he does these more generic ones where he just goes alphabetically through all these ones here. So right now he's going through the generic 1980 stuff, and he's had about 3 episodes in the last month and a half that have actually covered a couple of the early CoCo games, because of course the CoCo one got released in 1980. So the first one he did here was Backgammon. This screenshot I think somebody else had made, because it's got the RGB color composite thing mixed up, so it's got the grays. When he actually goes to play it in the emulator a little bit later, it actually comes out proper.
Yeah, that looks better. It looked good in that color set too.
Yeah, this is one where it actually really worked well.
Yeah.
And this is also one of the original 5, original 9, depending on how you want to view it. The very first soft releases for the CoCo. And this is one I have absolutely no clue who wrote. Not the foggiest idea. It just says Tandy copyright, so somebody internal. But he didn't play it too much because, I mean, backgammon's a little bit boring to watch. So anyway, that was the first video that I stumbled upon. Next up, I got an empty tab there for some reason. So the next episode, he went and he covered Dino Wars, and they call it We Go Berserk, because Berserk is one of the highlight games of this. And he does multiple games on a stream. He doesn't just pick a single game for a single stream. He picks about a dozen and goes through them. So this one, he played Dino Wars, but now in the emulator here, he didn't realize at first it's a 2-player game. So when he's got the joysticks being emulated on both sides, he didn't have to switch ports, so he's controlling both dinosaurs at the same time with the same joystick, which doesn't really work that well. But he was impressed by the scaling, so he didn't give it a very good rating because he didn't really know what the object of the game was. He just walked around and roared a lot. So he what's that?
It's good that he uses a Model 1 CoCo, the other page.
Yeah, and he actually shows like the manual, the boxing. Like he does a pretty good, thorough job, and he does this for all the platforms. And he picks, more obscure ones too, like the Exidy Sorcerer's one. He's covered a few of, etc.
Oh wow!
So I'm going to start following his channel. Here's the RGB composite thing again.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gave it a pretty poor rating. He was impressed by the graphics scaling, especially for 1980, but the gameplay he didn't really get. Now, one thing he does have is he has people actively watching the streams, and he's got people actively commenting afterwards, and actually somebody went and corrected and explained to him how it's supposed to work. So he ended up going back and doing a re-review of it, basically, and re-rated it again, and gave it a much higher one. So I'll play a little bit of that clip, as this is the correction video when he's doing his next episode.
And the first thing we need to do before moving on to our next game
I'll
is
just play a bit, just so you can kind of see
I have to re-rate
what
this
his channel's
live
like.
on air. This is Dino Wars, and if you missed the last episode, this was our first game on the TRS-80 color computer, or the CoCo. And I actually didn't understand the full concept of the game, because when we do these games one by one live, not every time I'm going to get everything correct. Now, when I first played Dino Wars, I thought it was 2 dinosaurs fighting, and when I booted up the game was playing, it just looked like dinosaurs walking around, so I didn't really give it much heart. But after getting schooled online, I learned that Dino Wars is a one-on-one fighting game. It is 2 dinosaurs that are fighting. That is health bars on either side of the 100%, and you can move in and out of the foreground and walk around almost like in a 3D space. So you can actually walk way back to where the mountains are, then move all the way up and have this giant sprite on the screen. The sprites scale on the screen. Now, it doesn't have a lot of fighting mechanics, like Primal Rage. You only have 2 attacks. But the idea that someone made this for a home computer and you could play it on the home computer, we are raising it up to 4 stars. Definitely for Dino Wars. So re-rating 4 stars for Dino Wars. That's the only one we're going to do this time. Let's move on.
So anyway, it's interesting because a lot of people do their initial reviews and then they're on to the next game and they never revisit, especially if they didn't really understand the game concept. So that's really cool. And he's done this with other non-CoCo related games as well too, where he's tried firing something up and it couldn't quite get it to work properly or didn't understand what you're supposed to do. But he will go through and correct it, which is nice. So I'm going to start following him because it looks like, there's a lot of stuff coming in 80, 81, 82, etc. That will be CoCo related, or even if he starts playing some of the Dragon stuff in 82. So I'll be sure to highlight some of his stuff here. But he's interactive in the chat. I actually watched his live stream for the first time last night. No CoCo stuff related there. But he played some old games from the Apple II I knew and stuff, and I was doing comments, and he definitely checks the chat out like we do, where he interacts with the chat live. So that's a really cool thing too, because I like that type of show. That's one of the things I like best about our show. So definitely check him out if you're into retro gaming in general. Like I said, he covers arcade consoles, he covers home computer consoles, and he covers home game consoles. So he's going through the whole gamut. And like I said, he also does some of the more obscure ones like the Exidy Sorcerer. He went through Apple IIs and Ataris and then CoCo and Tier City Model 1 and 3s. He's done a few of those too. So a lot of good history there. And just so you know, this is his page on Twitch if you want to watch him live. He records every weekday. So Monday through Friday, he does a stream every single day, multiple games per stream, and he starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe. or sorry, 9 p.m. Central or 8 p.m. Central. I can't remember. He says that if you watch his little blurb video that kind of explains the channel, that gives you the details. But he records 5 days a week, multiple games per day. So if you're really into retro gaming, I'd highly recommend his channel. That's it for the Game On news. So I will get ready to switch over to the regular stuff. I don't know if you want to play an intro there, Slippery, or should I just go straight into it?
Just go straight into it.
Okay. It looked like you're busy soldering or something there.
No, my back is killing me, so I'm like bending down to make it feel better.
Oh, okay. Thought you were pouring over a circuit board or something.
Nope.
He's falling asleep.
Well, aren't we all?
Isn't this just the nap time?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so first thing I'm going to mention, Boat John Akarshaller from the Amigos was going to try to do an announcement late in the show last week, but I didn't catch the message that he wanted to do that until too late. And he's busy this week. He's actually out of town. But be here next week because he's going to come on to announce Boat Fest 2023 details. Now, this is a show that started last year. And much thanks to Franklin Harris of Retro Rewind, because he actually got me down to the show to participate, and I even was on their CoCo Show Live. But if you guys are into retro gaming in general, or just retro computers in general, it's a fun show. We were pretty crowded last year, so they've got a bigger venue with about twice as much space. People are going to be bringing Vectrixes and all kinds of consoles. They had a big, I think, a 6 or 8 multiplayer game going on one of the consoles, which was pretty rare even for that console to get that used. And there's some other plans for big, massive multiplayer stuff too. There's the challenge against Brent, where you have to play with these little microscopic joysticks, and try to beat him. I think they're doing a fighting game. I can't remember if it's Mortal Kombat or what it is, but something like that. They also bring like a virtual pinball table and a whole bunch of other things. So it's a lot of fun. If you're into gaming in general, I mean, you'll really like the show. So that'll be announced. Well, they've been already announced on their channel, but he'll be on to announce the details here next week for Boat Fest 2023, which is this summer in West Virginia. So we'll be around for that. Okay, on to the regular news here. So we got multiple ones from Alan Huffman. So Alan's been busy doing a bunch of different things as usual. He's kind of all over the place at the same time. So the first one here, and I had to put this in mainly because it kind of covers my wheelhouse a little bit too. Some of you might have seen some pictures if you're on our Discord that Henry Wrightfeld, and he's brought this Rampage arcade cabinet to CoCo Fest. And it's basically a MAME cabinet with all the proper arcade joystick buttons and rollerballs, stuff like that on it. So it's authentic arcade hardware. But with running MAME on it, you can actually run emulations of all the various machines, and he's had the CoCo on there quite a bit. So he booted up EOU version 1 after it got released and showed some screenshots of it running on there. And then Alan Huffman said, could you play my Space Invaders game? Because he's never seen it in an actual arcade cabinet. Thought it'd be kind of cool, so Henry obliged. And this is it. You can see this is the Space Invaders game that Alan wrote. Probably 30 years ago now, I guess, and it's updated a few times. But running on an actual arcade cabinet with actual arcade controls, so he was quite happy with that. So he made a blog post about it with a screenshot. So hopefully he'll, if Henry is able to bring this out here to the CoCo Fest this April, we can get a chance to try that. Next up, this is a programming competition where you try to, on whatever platform you're running on, you try to duplicate a program that's been issued as a challenge, but you try to shrink it down to be as small as possible. Now, Alan's got 2 parts out to this one. Last year, I think they had to make a Christmas tree on the text screen. This year, it's a star. And basically, you go through and try to compress the code. The initial program they give you is just raw print, spaces and all, print out the star, and then you try to compress it down. Now, he's already mentioned this is going to be a 6-part series. He's got 2 of the parts up now. So obviously, he hasn't optimized it as much as he could yet because he's got 4 more episodes to go here. But he kind of goes through, here's the original stock, print everything. And he mentions the fact that the star they picked is a line or 2 long to fit on the CoCo 1 and 2 screen, so it scrolls off. So he did that one, and they did the follow-up where he actually starts to do the compression a little bit. And here's using like a table of strings, I think, over somewhere. Oh, one other thing I should mention. If you give it following Alan's blog or Alan on Facebook on the CoCo group here, he's been really fiddling with that AI chat thing that actually can program and figure out programs and stuff. Have you been following that kind of stuff or even tried it yourself? on the panel? No.
No,
Okay.
but it sounds interesting.
Yeah. So it's called Open GPT or something. I can't remember. It looks like I forgot to write it down, but basically he pumped it into there, and he said, output in basic, how I would do this type thing, and it did, but unfortunately it's like a much newer version of basic. Looks closer to basic 09 type thing, but it did jam out some code. And then he started going into his own compression here, where he's actually using tables of numbers for strings of spaces followed by the asterisks, and it actually ended up being a little bit bigger. So he's got some more work to do, as he says, but and then when he did get it working here, he had a few gaps he had to fix up too. So it's basically just running through, how he optimized the code, and we'll see where he ends up at the end of part 6. The other thing he did this week also, he decided to try CMOC for the first time, because he's done some C programming under OS 9 or Nitrous 9, but he's never done any of the C compilers for the regular disk basic. Now, there was a few of them back in the day. I know I had one called, it was a small C implementation of KNR by Duggar's Growing Systems that came out in 83, I think, originally. So we had a few small Cs back then. CMOC, of course, is the more modern one by, is it Pierre Serzin? Am I getting the name right? Who's also published libraries for it for doing graphics and disk I/O and sound and all kinds of stuff. And it works with both OS 9 and with Disk Basic. So this is the very first C program he's ever tried using CMOC. And he had a few tribulations, getting it all set up due to various, kinds of C compilers that are underneath that actually handle the actual conversion and stuff here too. But he eventually did get it running. And he's got his first little hello program that he did here to clear the screen. And he's going to keep experimenting with it. We'll see what he comes up with here. And this is more going into the AI thing again. And his title of this one is kind of interesting in the title of the article. I will never write a shell script again. And he was talking about using CMOC to do the build, and he wanted to automate the steps, build and copy the disk image, because he wants to just be able to click, or run a script and it'll do everything and create a disk image ready to run with the program you did. And he mentions that he, OS 9, he used to do the shell script, which I do even to this day. And then he went to the Chat GPT, this artificial intelligence that's been getting raved about by tons of tech websites. And he asks the chat bot, how can I pass a parameter to a Unix shell script? And the response kind of teaches you exactly what to do with examples. And then he starts getting more specific about, write a shell script that takes a parameter, a name, and then runs CMOC name, and then decb copy name to cbisc bin.name. So basically creating a script to compile the code, put it into a disk image, and have it ready to run. And it actually created something here that pretty well did exactly what he asked without him having to write any code. So now he's planning on doing all of his scripts just using this chat robot to do the coding for him. So I know they've done some further experiments. Some other people on the Facebook group that have been watching this have been doing some experiments with it too. It's not perfect. It sometimes really screws up, or it has, a different version of BASIC or whatever scripting language it's trying to do. But it's pretty impressive, to be honest. It's getting as good as it is. How long before we can just say, make jumping Joey and it'll just figure it out and do it for you? I don't know yet. And Nick, I wanted to ask you, do you feel your job is threatened?
Totally. No. No, not really. There's a degree of creative element that the AIs don't do yet. So
yeah,
I think yeah,
ways to go yet. I do know, like he actually gave it some source code and stuff and said, what is this program doing? And it was surprisingly accurate on some of them, considering he just threw like, here's random 6809 code. And, he didn't know if this thing would even recognize what that is. And it goes, yeah, it's a 6809 and you're clearing a screen of some sort or block of memory. So it actually recognized loops and what the loops were doing and stuff. So
as a former system administrator, I feel kind of
obsoleted.
Exactly. The kind of code that I wrote, this thing's doing just fine.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive. I have to say, I've seen some people like The Verge and a few others have also poo-pooed part of it because they said it's not that accurate. Well, I mean, this is the first time they've actually released to the public really trying something like this. And the fact that it's as accurate as it is means they're definitely on the right track. But like Nick said, the creative part is where I don't think you could probably get it to write some routines for you for a game you're working on, but I think you'll still have to come with the creative ideas to link it all together. But you might not have to do as much coding. So that was interesting.
And you can always bring up the small problem that it's not actually writing any of that. It's regurgitating it from a huge data set that it was trained on.
Right, hence no originality.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming that data set is growing based on other queries because some people have submitted code and stuff to it as they've been interfacing with it. So I'm assuming it gets better and better too, right?
Well, it gets more and more code, but it's kind of like the internet. The more you add to it doesn't necessarily make it better.
Very true. Okay, next up, and I'm going to absolutely slaughter this last name. So Konrad Peter Zakowski, something like that. Just notice I spelled his name wrong in the show notes. Anyway, he shared a video showing his loading a game via PC that is part of his museum collection in Poland. So he's got a retro museum in Poland, and he doesn't have a cassette recorder or an SDC or anything else for his CoCo. And it's actually a CoCo 3, surprisingly enough, though he's loading a CoCo 2 game into it, actually a Dragon game originally. But he basically got it hooked up to his PC, and he's just pumping the audio through the earphone jack into the cassette input interface on the CoCo. So he's actually got this up and running. And you can see here in Polish his description. And then he also talks about, I did the Google Translate here. So if you're ever in Poland and you want to check out a computer museum that actually has a CoCo 3 up and running, this is the guy to talk to. I won't bother playing the video here because it just shows a little bit of a demo of the game playing. And it's one we've actually shown before on the show. But he was quite happy he actually got it working without having to buy all the extra hardware, try to find a cassette deck, etc. This is an interesting one that appeared on medium.com, and it was trying to figure out the history of Christmas demos on home computers. And the CoCo is one of the earliest ones to mention here. There's a basic one written in 1982. Now, I do remember when we interviewed the image producers, Glenn Soggy had mentioned that he had made a Christmas demo for Radio Shack for Christmas 1980, which is 2 years earlier than the one they found here. But it's one that only basically got showed in a few local Chicago Radio Shacks at the time. And he's lost it since then, and he doesn't know anybody else that has it, so we can't show it, obviously. I seem to remember, though, didn't Tier City Microcomputer News publish some CoCo graphical Christmas demos before 1982 Christmas? I'm pretty sure. Does anybody else here remember any Christmas demos on the CoCo 1 from before that time? Nope. Okay, maybe it's just me then. But they showed like a really early one from the 60s here, which is actually running on a mainframe doing a Christmas tree in the printer. And the Christmas Lemmings game from MS-DOS, so obviously that's a bit later. But here they did a Christmas scene on the CoCo 1, so the CoCo 1 got prominently featured. Even have the source code listing for it, and who wrote the original version, Peter Stump from McHenry, Illinois. And a little bit of an animated GIF kind of showing a little bit of the drawing. Now, unfortunately, the artifact colors, I think, are reversed here, but they're probably not familiar with the CoCo, so probably wouldn't know. But a nice little demo. I've written a few of these myself back in the day. I've got to find them and put them up in the archive at some point. But has anybody else here written little Christmas demos for home or for friends' businesses or anything like that besides me?
No, the last one you showed, though, I've seen before.
This one here, you mean?
The old.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say the old printed out one on teletype paper. They used to tape it up over the top of the teletype every year at school and say, you don't need to print that out anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waste of paper and ink and ribbons, I guess.
By 1,000 students, yeah. Christmas demo.
I'm going to make a bigger one this year. Yeah. It's kind of cool, though, because they go through some of the other ones, like some of the Commodore 64 stuff, which, of course, looked a bit more advanced. We've got a few pretty advanced CoCo 3 ones I've seen, too. Even Tandy had that CoCo 3 Christmas demo from, it was at 87 or 88, where you get to watch the reindeer and stuff going across, and, the elves loading the Radio Shack truck to take stuff out to the stores. And
oh, yeah.
The Sierra one, which actually is included on EOU if you want to try that on the CoCo itself, is another one. That's the Tandy 1000 version they showed there. But it goes through and more advanced ones as they go. But I'm sure there was some CoCo ones before 82 Christmas. I'm almost 100% positive. So I'm going to have to dig through my discs one of these days and see if I can find it. Next up, this is one I missed. So Glenn actually mentioned, because we mentioned another blog entry he did last week, but he mentioned you didn't mention this one. And he's right, I completely missed it. So this is another programming challenge type of thing. This is called Code Golf. which is a website that has various people issuing challenges of making code as small as possible in the language of your choice. So it's not restricted to basic or machine language or C or anything like that. You can pick whatever you want. And you basically have to duplicate a task that somebody else has done on some other platform and see how well you do. So Glenn took up the challenge of drawing a Mona Lisa on a graphic screen using a technique originally by a programmer named Jacob Ilmenetdebski. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. My apologies. It's a procedural graphics demo originally for the Atari XL, so Sloopy will like that part, and was 250 bytes of assembly code and data. And it cheated a tiny bit. Well, not cheat. It uses a couple of ROM routines, one to set up the graphics screen on the Atari, and another one to actually do the drawing of lines. It called the ROM routine for that. 250 bytes. Glenn, his final result from his fiddling around was 283 bytes, but he's actually setting up the screen and drawing the lines in his code. So that takes some extra room, obviously. And so he got it pretty close. And he actually made a little demo of it drawing here. Now, it's a procedural thing where it kind of recurses and calls different things with certain parameters changing and stuff. So it doesn't just draw the Mona Lisa like a data table. It kind of does it in a weird way. And I thought it was kind of cool just visually to watch. And then the Atari one runs the same way, but I'll just let you play here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So basically, it's just a bunch of lines that can procedurally generate. Eventually, if you let it run long enough, it kind of makes the Mona Lisa picture. Not bad for just over a $250,000.
Another screensaver is born.
Yeah.
That would work very, very well for stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's constantly overdrawing itself. It's not just drawing the pixels and that they stay static for the final image. It's all over the place just to make it as compressed as possible. And of course, Glenn being Glenn, he's published the entire source code in the semi-language here with comments if you want to take a look and learn how he did it. Or if you can figure out some places to optimize even a little bit more, if you wanted to see if you can get them down close to the Atari's version. So my apologies to Glenn for missing that the first time around. So thanks, Glenn, for notifying me.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty humorous joke to think that, we're going to just walk over there and write Glenn's code better for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to do that for Robotron because we thought there was bugs and I was going to try to find the bug. Then we found out the arcade game had the same bugs. So he literally translated properly, so I didn't bother. Next up, we have Sheldon McDonald. And we've mentioned a while ago that he's been working on a new IDE, integrated development environment. That's going to be dual purpose. It'll work for the CoCo and it'll also work for the Sega Genesis. And you can just click a few buttons to switch between the two, and you're running 68K assembly code here, and you're running 6809 over here. And it he has libraries developed for doing graphics and sound for the two different systems here. So he did a almost 17-minute video here kind of showing the dual IDE setup and how to switch. I'll just play a little clips and kind of get an idea, but you definitely want to go check the video if you want to do it. It's still a work in progress though.
Try to tell you it's dangerous or something. Go through the menus and say you're okay with it. Once you get it downloaded, you'll find that it has a Sega CoCo IDE folder. I just for now take that folder and drag it to your desktop. Okay, and you'll have it like this. So this is the program here. You'll also need a prerequisite of DirectX 9.0C. If you have one of the later...
So obviously this is Windows only at this point, but and he goes in and he kind of shows how the ID works. He shows you how to switch between the two different platforms for the destination. Some of the scripts that are set up to automatically run it. As soon as you compile it, it makes the disk image and then fires up the emulator to run it immediately so you can test it fairly quickly. So it's kind of cool to see the progress here. And he's actually got a few games on both systems that he's been fiddling with. So it'll be interesting to see what else he comes up with and also where the IDE itself goes. Next, this just got announced yesterday, I believe. So Jim Brain is sharing an event. He did this on the CoCo group, the Glenside group, the MC10 group, and a bunch of others. I was hoping maybe some of the Glenside officers would be here to kind of talk about it because I don't know too much about it except for what I read here. But I'll just kind of give you the summary version. Or you can go to the Facebook page to read the full one. I think he also posted to the CoCo listserv if you're on the CoCo mailing list. So he said basically, Glenside is planning to have a celebration of Tandy computers or work-alikes, which includes clones like the Alice, the Dragon, the CP400, etc. Sharing stories, etc. on December 30th. You can also do demos and things too. It will be a Zoom call starting at 6:30 p.m. Central Time and last as long as people are willing to hang out and talk. So basically, it'll be on the Zoom channel. He's actually got the link for it here, both on the post on the CoCo list and also on the Facebook posts as well in multiple groups. They even have it set up so if you don't have access to Zoom at that time, there's actually phone numbers you can do if you want to just get in on the audio part of the call and join the call there too. So I am planning, unless something else comes up that I'm not aware of at the current moment in time, I'm planning on actually popping by for that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So, and anybody else that has seen this already, is anybody else planning on going to this besides me?
I'm gonna try to swing by. Yeah.
I hope to.
Yep. I hope a lot of folks show up.
Cool. Since we're actually off, like our show's off for a couple of weeks over Christmas here, mainly because everybody that's working hard behind the scenes, they have to get all these new commercials and splash screens and intros and stuff all done. It'll give some time for testing, etc. So while we have some, well-deserved time off for them to get all that stuff done, the rest of us can just join in on this. And that'll be like an extra, not a bonus episode, but an extra bit of CoCo goodness during that break time. Anyway, all the details on Facebook, like I said, the CoCo group, the Dragon group, the MC10 group, the Glenside group, and also on the list. Next up, and this one got pointed out to me, I did see this story last week. I even sent a comment to Adrian on it. I even mentioned Daniel's basically doing this project herself. Daniel O'Connor, for those who don't know. But apparently, I thought I put it in the show last week, but I went and scrubbed back because people said I didn't see it there. And I knew I'd thrown in a few stories at the last minute that didn't get into the official published notes. But I went and scrubbed through it real quick this morning, and I didn't see me mentioning it either. So apparently, I totally forgot. So my apologies to everybody involved, especially Tim Linder pointed out, because if you guys have watched this already, know the story behind it. Adrian picked up this. I'll play it.
Well, hello, everyone.
But basically, you can see this really, really dirty TRS-80 Model 3 or 4. I can't even tell with all the dust on it what color it's supposed to be. Dual drive system, the mirror keypad, standard Model 3, Model 4. Pretty sad shape. But it was donated by Tim Linder himself from somebody else. And when he opens up the machine, it's been gutted. There's no main motherboard, but there's like a CoCo floppy controller. And there's some special weird wiring on the keyboard and a bunch of other things too. So basically, somebody repacked a CoCo, including the floppy controller, hooked up the keyboards to the numeric keypad and everything else works, all running a CoCo 1 basically. And he actually has the CoCo 1 motherboard that was originally in here as well. So
not only that, but they put a TV in there with a
tuner.
It's
a color TV, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the more interesting repacks. We did have one guy in our local club here in Saskatoon that did the same thing with the Model 3. And we had two guys, I think, that did the kind of flip one where they took the Model 3 keyboard itself, cut the edge of the case on the CoCo 1 to fit it, and actually jammed a Model 3 keyboard with a working keypad into a CoCo 1. And that was actually published in Color Computer News magazine. Somebody actually, told you how to rewire it, what to cut, what size. And it was actually a project they published in mid-1982.
Actually, I did the same thing with a black and white TV. And it was a Model 4 data terminal before, that somebody gutted.
Yeah.
So I used the case for it, and I have a picture of it, but it's just from far.
out, but left a lot of the other CoCo innards still in here. So I think Adrian, because he did find the motherboard that originally was paired with this, I think he's thinking of trying to get the whole thing up and running again. So basically you'll end up with a self-contained unit with a full-blown keyboard with numeric keypad, a CoCo 1 with a color screen, dual floppy drives hooked up to the floppy controller, plus a way to do the cassette stuff, all in a CoCo or in a Model 3 case. So it's one of the more interesting repacks. And I think from what I remember, like the CoCo 3 is when I remember most repacks happening. Like Rick, you had one, and tons of others did too. Some even did it in like wood and made portables. So I think the CoCo 3 got more of these types of cases because that's after the PCs came out and it was a bit easier to fit stuff in. But I think the CoCo tended to get probably proportionally a bit more of these than, say, Ataris or Commodores. For those of you that are more familiar with the other platforms than I am, how often did repacks happen there? Like Sloopy for the Atari, Mark for Apple IIs. Was that a thing?
Well, in the Apple II days, they originally, for the first few years, they sold them motherboards without the cases. You didn't have to get them in little flat things. So a lot of people did their own custom cases.
Are you talking the Apple I or the Apple II?
Apple II.
Okay, I knew about the Apple I.
Apple I had no cases or keyboards when you bought it, unless somebody put one together like the Night Shop or something. But the Apple IIs, yeah, you could buy just the motherboard with nothing else.
Was that commonplace though, or was that fairly rare?
Not really. It was pretty uncommon. Most people wanted a complete computer. They didn't want to put one together.
Well, and as to this thing, who's going to tear up a Model 4 to repack a CoCo?
Well,
you know, unless something really unfortunate happened to that Model 4.
Yeah, Danielle's done it, and
well, yeah, now, but
and Stephen Esseline, or however you say his name, has done it too with
But back in the day, that chassis was worth fixing in several different ways, you know.
I actually seen one before this and before Danielle's. I actually saw one in the early '90s. But yeah, the on the Atari side of things, repacking didn't become a thing until the XEs were released, and case mods were much more common.
Okay, so I think it probably did happen a bit more. I mean, I wouldn't call this commonplace in the CoCo either. But the fact that my local club had a person that did this exact same thing.
Yeah.
In a little town of 150,000 people. And like I said, 2 people did the Model 3 keyboard into the CoCo thing where you had to cut the case surround to fit it.
Yeah, repacking seems to be the most common in the Amiga community. Especially
I mean, even the Amigas themselves, like the official ones, like when you got up to the 3000, the 4000, you actually had tower cases, so they were kind of already there.
Yeah, but like the 1200, because people couldn't afford a 4000, they would get a 1200 with a adapter that would put slots in it, and then you'd have to repack it into a new case because the original case obviously wouldn't fit. So,
but Tim Linder, if you listen to this later, because I haven't seen you in the chat today, I would love to have you on just to talk about where you got this from, and any details or stories from the person that actually made it.
Yeah.
Because it would be kind of interesting to get the history of this particular machine here. You can see all the bodge wiring there to remap the keys, so they all work in the CoCo, including the numeric keypad, alternator keys, etc. Not as complex as one would have thought. I would have thought it would have been done totally differently, but then I took a look at the actual CCN article, and actually it wasn't too bad in there either. So pretty cool, but definitely check it out. It's 20-minute long video. There's probably going to be a follow-up. Here's the original CoCo 1 motherboard itself, which I think is a D or an E board, just judging by the looks of it. One thing you'll notice actually on there, I'm just going to pause the video. Take a look at the cartridge connection slot. It's angled 90 degrees from where it normally would be, and that was to fit it properly in the case, so the disc controller would stick straight up out of it, as opposed to coming outside, so it would fit properly.
Yeah, what revision? What revision board is that?
That's an F board.
Oh, is it an F?
That's not an F.
That's an F.
That's an F?
Oh, it is too. Yeah, you're right, because there's the 285 thing down over here. I just noticed that.
Plus the small shield and the fact that the keyboard connector's got the resistors above it there.
Yeah, and that 285 number, serial number, or part number, whatever it is, on the left there, because that was only on the F boards.
I'll have to look at my F again, because my F was my first CoCo 1.
Yeah. So anyway, really interesting to see the project. Really interesting to Adrian, because when he opened it up, he had no idea. I guess if I understand correctly, and I wish Tim was here to kind of correct me if I'm wrong in this, but my understanding was he sent it to Adrian without explaining that there was a CoCo inside here. He just said, "Here's a heavily modeled Model 3. Check it out." And at the beginning of the video, when he's cleaning off the screen, he notices that it doesn't look like a standard black and white Model 3 monitor in there. And then when he takes it apart, of course, he finds out it's an actual TV set. So it was fun to watch his journey of exploration and figuring out exactly what the heck he had there. Next up, speaking of contests, because we've mentioned a few of them here lately, here's another one by Jim Gary. So we covered his port of the D-Doom game, which is kind of a little 3D dungeon crawl thing where you get to roll your own characters, but also had a map editor built in so you create your own levels. So Jim's going to do a little bit of a contest, and you can download the version of the game where he's designed his own 5 levels to go through. And your mission is to get the idol on level 5, and you have to document it with a proof of like a video play showing you getting the idol and winning, or a screenshot or something like that. And the first person to complete the game on the MC10 will win the coffee mug that you see here. And I don't know what to call this coffee mug. It's like a semi-graphics guy from one of the games that he did, and walks around. It might have been Load Runner or something like that. I can't remember, but basically you win the free coffee cup with some semi-graphics on it. And he's also got his blogs about we covered previously, kind of the history of the game and his conversion of it. And he had to fix some bugs in the original code, etc., added some features, etc.
That's Jim's avatar picture.
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Right up in the top left there. Duh. Yeah, I need more coffee anyway. So anyway, if you want a chance to win a free cup from Jim Gary, maybe if you ask nicely, he'll autograph it for you in marker, which hopefully won't wash off in the dishwasher. But that's a little contest he's got going, and you can try out the 5 levels of the dungeon he designed himself. Next, we got some updates from Julian Brown in the Dragon group on Facebook. So Julian, of course, is the guy who's been trying to reproduce, kind of like Pedro's done here in the States with the CoCo 1 and 2 and 3, but trying to reproduce the motherboard for the Dragon 32 and 64. And he's had a few prototypes come in and had some issues with them. So this is hoping the last time. I'll just zoom up here. So here he received the latest prototypes. That's the raw board. I think it's the 3rd revision he's done so far. And that's just when he got them in. So he did a couple of updates. I'll show you the latest update here. We started to populate the board itself. And he's put in some of the chips, his sockets and resistors and capacitors and stuff. And he said, so near yet so far, I seem to have run out of pin headers and I need to find my stash of 4164 RAM chips. Otherwise, everything I need for most of the basic tests. We'll pull most of the chips for the next steps, but not today. And that he just posted this morning. So he's pretty close to seeing if this latest version is actually going to function properly. If it does, I think he's planning on making this a public release, just like Pedro does with his designs, which means you can actually like pull the design down, go to a place that manufactures PCBs. I'm sure Ken and a few others can mention some certain places that might be able to do that. And then you can start rebuilding motherboards instead of, just every time one gets cracked, you have to throw in the garbage. That's one less Dragon in the world, one less CoCo in the world. This way we can actually start, building them up again and maybe get the prices down a little bit on the actual ones. Because some people just want the functionality of an actual CoCo or Dragon as opposed to, having to have the original hardware only. So I'm glad to see the Dragon's getting just as much love on reproducing the motherboards as the CoCo is.
That's its own form of art. When you really, really look at Pedro's board or Julian's board, there's some folks that do Amiga boards like that. And it's just, without even putting all the chips on it, it's just this interesting piece of artwork.
Yeah. And to be honest, one thing I like about all the modern ones, because all these modern PCB manufacturing companies let you pick the color. Like it used to be, it was green or nothing, or maybe yellow if it's a really old 70s one or something like that. But now you can pick colors that you can almost brand it for yourself or whatever. So and they look better, honestly.
The yellow is
like
the fiberglass cover. The green is when they put on the solder mask.
Yeah. But I mean, like even if you look at the CoCo SDCs, you can see different colors depending on who manufactured. You kind of tell like where you got it from type thing, which is cool. Next up, Richard Harding, who's kind of the guy in the Dragon community that is trying to gather up all the original documentation for hardware, software, whatever. He actually made a trip on December the 8th here to the National Archive in the UK. And you can actually see a picture of the National Archives here, nice fancy building. And he's pulling out everything he can find on Dragon. And he's got scans that he's been putting up and going through here. So there's some pretty interesting stuff in here. So April 1982, Metoy Limited at Swansea, which is where the Dragon was originally made, at £30 million. I'm not sure if that's their budget or what. Amount unknown for development of a computer. So this is when they're first starting to, conjure up the Dragon, basically months before it went on sale. And a memorandum on Dragon Data itself. Sales info. So this is units. I don't know if this is for a single year, exactly what this is covering, but it mentions 127,500 units of the Dragon 32, 32,000 units of the Dragon 64, 5,000 educational units. So if this is like a yearly thing or a quarterly thing, I don't know, but assuming a year, 164,500 Dragons sold. And then peripherals at 21,600 disk controllers, 23,600 disk drives, because a few people got the second drive. 350,000 cartridges were manufactured, 400,000 cassette tapes, 149,000 cassette leads, and 116,000 pairs of joysticks. So you're actually getting some firm numbers there, which I don't think I've ever seen before. And here's some information on the building rental. So when they were renting out the space to actually do the manufacturing, etc., and what the square footage was. Like in here, it says the Kenfig one in West Glenmorgan is 50,000 square feet for Dragon Data. And here's something for Mr. EC, who's actually addressing this to the person that was actually still active. You can get some information on loans they took out, like it's all the old business stuff. Shareholder equity, etc. So if you're really interested in the history of Dragon Data itself, how they sold their stocks, what type of stocks they had available. Getting in a proposed extension at Kenfig, so they were trying to expand the plant. And that was in 82.
You see, they just passed a milestone. Mettoy went down to 49% ownership just a little bit earlier. So
yeah.
Dragon
It's fascinating to discover this whole business history, because that's something I wish we had out of Radio Shack Tandy. And when they were auctioning off a lot of the stuff there at the end there, apparently some of the stuff was in there, but I don't know, have a clue who got it and what they're going to do with it. Because I'd love to know some things like, say, firm sales numbers. There's a share price rising. Some more share stuff. Rescue operation with other institutional shareholders. This is when they're starting to have problems, and listed as a problem client. This is when the bottom started to fall out, and then resolved for that particular run. Here's where GEC looked at buying out Dragon Data, basically. Likely outcome for 1983 and its business plan for 1984, but the latter is regarded as being both unrealistic and unsatisfactory. So you get to hear some of the inner workings of trying to get things going. And here, agreed to announce that GEC McMichael will take over the marketing of Dragon's products. The agency has been asked to attend a further shareholders meeting to discuss an electronic writing pad project. So that was some unreleased hardware, as far as I know. But they obviously had some future plans beyond the Dragon Alpha, Beta, etc. And here now they're listed as a major problem of investments. So this is when things were really not going well. It's kind of sad hearing that, but
sort of like in that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa was president and Bart walks in and says, "I got this, no problem."
Yeah. And here's a bit of a bit too, and this is from 84, mid to late 84. So the Dragon Data Limited says, this company has serious problems in that its home computer market seems to have dwindled, leaving the company with a warranty expense on its old 32 model, which is unquantifiable. It is hoping to enter into a manufacturing agreement with some Spanish interests and is further hoping to make a substantial export to the People's Republic of China. I don't think that ever happened, but the Spanish part definitely did, because they basically kind of took over sales for a while and manufactured in Spain, if I remember correctly, as well. So it's really cool. He's doing all the research and spending an entire day down in the National Archives just hunting down all this stuff. Must just be a chore and a half. May 1984, the receivers are called. And then the Dragon Future Home Unit. This machine is to be developed during 1983 for a launch in early 1984. It will replace over a period of time the Dragon 32 and should incorporate the facility to link with Prestel and other TV systems together with a limited.
Well done. All right. Now, let's see here. What do we do next? My cheat sheet's gone. Leave. Yep. Yep. Why is I am the only one being able to be heard? Why is... Okay, I broke it again. That's what everyone's saying. And... let's see. Alright, that seems to be right. And... yeah. Yep. Yeah, everything's up. What? System sound. Yeah, because my system sound is showing nothing.
The button.
Yeah, wave and hit the button. Bye, everybody.
All right. Well, should I run the outro or no?
Silent
Are they going to hear it?
Here, I'll run the TCN promo and then we'll say goodbye when we get back.
The time has come to unite the world under one nation, an 8-bit nation, a neon green nation, the CoCo Nation. The CoCo Nation Show, coming soon.
This concludes another episode of...
No, where is it? Yes, there it is. All right. Everyone say goodbye, even though no one will be able to hear you.
By the way, they just mentioned they actually heard us when you were playing the commercial when we were talking.
Oh, really?
We're coming
Okay,
out
so
over now.
just play the commercial and we'll talk over it.
Yeah.
I think we're coming over now.
Hey, the system sound thing is coming up and down. Cool.
Now we're back. Don't have a clue what you did.
Don't do whatever you did last time.
DFL is my friend.
Like we're on TV.
This is what happens when we start from scratch with a new show.
A color computer does not run this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it should.
Maybe.
All right. So I guess we're going to say goodbye, everybody.
Hello and goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Remember to change your channels over to CoCo Nation to get ready for the show transition, and we're going to take a bit of a break after next week. So that'll be the last one for a bit. And join us on the 30th for the Glenside Reminiscing Day, where you can join in on Zoom and just share stories and demos.
That'll be fun.
Channel 4 instead of Channel 3.
And at 2 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock.
Yep, that's from the new year too. Not this next week, the new year.
2023, not